Chapter 1. On the blue sea, an island with several huge windmills stands on it. At this time, it is at the southwest corner of the island. A teenager was lying on the beach at this time. The cold touch coming from his feet from time to time made him unable to help but slowly open his eyes. What comes into view is the blue sky. The faint smell of sea coming from the air made Xia Chen a little confused. He couldn't help but murmured, "Where am I? I remember that I was hit by a dump truck and killed while trying to make a profit, right?" After thinking about it for a long time, Xia Chen couldn't figure out what the situation was now. And the more I thought about it, the more it hurt, so I just ignored it. At least it seems like he's not dead yet. Xia Chen got up from the ground with his hands on his hands. But at a certain moment, he suddenly froze. He stared blankly at his feet. Then he touched his face in disbelief. This is what I am. I saw that what was reflected in the sea water at Xia Chen's feet was not a young man in his 20s who had experienced many vicissitudes of life, but a boy about 16 years old. Be high-spirited and prosperous. Exactly what he looked like when he was 16. Just when Xia Chen was still immersed in the fact that he was getting younger and couldn't extricate himself. A voice spoke in his head. Bite. It was detected that the host was on the plot island Windmill Village, and the plot island check-in system was successfully activated. System. Xia Chen's head, which was already a little confused, was even more confused now. Why was he suddenly given a system? He's not dead either, right? Suddenly, Xia Chen seemed to realize something. Windmill Island? He also knows a place called Windmill Island. Isn't this the place he thought about? Thinking of this, Xia Chen couldn't help but shed a drop of cold sweat on his head. At this moment, the sound of the system came again. Host has arrived at the plot island Windmill Island, do you want to check in? Yes. Xia Chen replied subconsciously. Clock in successful. Congratulations to host for getting, animal type phantom beast species Renren Fruit Monkey King form. No side effects version, the fruit has been stored in the system space, and the host can withdraw it at any time. Okay, I'm not running away. The moment he saw this information, Xia Chen was able to confirm that he had indeed arrived in the world he had guessed before. One Piece world. To be fair, if he had known that he was in such a place before he obtained the system, he would have been panicked to death. This world is not as peaceful as seen in anime. There are vicious pirates and hypocritical and righteous marines here. And those disgusting pigs, the celestial dragons. Maybe some disaster will come and send him away again. But now, that would be different. The experience of countless seniors who traveled through the belt system made Xia Chen not panic at all. He has a system, what is he afraid of? And Xia Chen thought, and a golden fruit appeared in his hand instantly. Everyone's fruit, the Monkey King's form. Xia Chen is very familiar with who the Monkey King is. This was a character he had always liked in his previous life. The Monkey King. Sun Gok. Just based on this name, there is no need to mention anything else. This fruit must be a god-level fruit. Is Nika the sun god awesome? Excuse me. Even if you become a god through cultivation, you will only be one of the 100,000 heavenly soldiers and generals who stand in my way. And it has no side effects, which means it does not have a fatal weakness like other fruits. Restrained by Hailashi. Thinking of this, Xia Chen couldn't wait. He took a big bite of the fruit in his hand. The sweet and delicious juice exploded on Xia Chen's taste buds. Xia Chen, who was already ready to eat, was a little dazed. Hey? Didn't you say this food tastes worse than Xiang? Is it possible that the side effect-free version also eliminates the bad taste? After much deliberation, it seems that this is the only answer. In this case, Xia Chen immediately started eating with big mouthfuls. Originally, if it really tasted worse than Xiang, he would have just prepared to take a bite. It tastes so delicious now, so I must eat more. After all, he is quite hungry now. After a while, Xia Chen sat on the ground holding his stomach. Don't tell me, this fruit doesn't look big, but it's quite filling. Not long after he sat down, Xia Chen felt a surge of energy coming from deep within his body, constantly transforming his body. This process lasted for about 10 minutes. When all is said and done, Xia Chen felt the power coming from his body and couldn't help but clenched his fist. He felt as if he could blow up a mountain at this moment. But in the blink of an eye, Xia Chen showed a wry smile again. Although he has become a lot stronger, his stomach that was finally full just now is now hungry again. It seems like we have to find something to eat first. Xia Chen glanced around. Suddenly, he saw a long-lived fish swimming toward him. The corner of his mouth curled up. Wouldn't the food be delivered to your door? Zitsizi. Xia Chen was eating grilled fish while thinking about his next plan. With this system, he is destined to be unable to stay in one place for too long. Plot Island? If nothing else, it should be the islands that appeared in the original anime. That means he has to check in on all these islands. I just don't know which timeline we are in now. Xia Chen thought as he opened the system panel. This was a new function he had just researched on the system. One can see an attribute of his whole body. Name, Xia Chen Fruit, Renren Fruit Monkey King Form, Elementary, Ability, Indestructible Body, Elementary, Armed Color Haki, Unawakened Seeing and Hearing Color Domineering, Not Yet Awakened Conqueror's Haki, Unawakened. The panel appears extremely simple. It is the conventional 3-color Haki and the degree of fruit development in the pirate world. The Indestructible Body in the ability column is the first ability obtained after eating the fruit. The function is to transform his physique into that of the Monkey King. It goes without saying how awesome the Great Sage's indestructible body is. This is a top-notch physique that was created by eating countless 9-turn golden elixir and flat peach. The top-level physique in One Piece, like Auntie's steel balloon, is like a younger brother to the indestructible body of King Kong. Just hang it up casually. After reading this information, Xia Chen was almost full. Then he walked towards the center of the island. Although he doesn't know the way, he is definitely heading towards the center. The most important thing for him now is to know what timeline he is in now, so that he can easily arrange his next trip. Besides, gotta get a boat. Chapter 2. After a while, Xia Chen stopped as he looked at the increasingly dense trees in front of him. I couldn't help but rub my chin and start thinking. What went wrong? There's no reason to say I'm that idiot from Zoro, right? Can't even find the way? While Xia Chen was still thinking, a voice came from his ears. Gomo Gomo. Hey? This is... Xia Chen's eyes lit up and he ran towards the place where the sound came from. As soon as he arrived at his destination, Xia Chen saw a boy wearing a straw hat punching a tiger. There were dozens of meters between the boy and the tiger. But his fist stretched out directly and hit the tiger's chin hard. Seeing this scene, Xia Chen raised a smile on his lips. Wang Luffy. It seems that I know where to go next. In that case. Just when Xia Chen was still thinking, the tiger that was knocked away rushed straight towards him and hit him. And Luffy was also surprised when he saw someone suddenly appear. He shouted hurriedly, "Get out of the way!" Hey! Xia Chen was still immersed in his own thoughts, and looked up when he heard Luffy's voice. A huge figure came into view and was about to hit him in the next second. Xia Chen was shocked. Subconsciously he punched forward. Bang! The tiger just flew over and was punched away by Xia Chen before it even landed. And it was much more powerful than Luffy's punch just now. The tiger's internal bones were directly broken, spitting out a mouthful of blood in the air. It flew and hit several trees before stopping. Number degree. You. Luffy looked at Xia Chen blankly, unable to say a complete sentence. At this time, Xia Chen was equally confused. Is he so strong? He didn't use much force just now. Is it so powerful? At this time, Xia Chen reacted belatedly. It seems that there is something about his indestructible body. Is he so strong just for being a junior? Kui. You are so awesome. Luffy ran over and said excitedly to Xia Chen. Are you also from Windmill Village? Why haven't I seen you before? No, I just came to Windmill Village today. Xia Chen shook his head and said. Hello, my name is Monkey D. Luffy, and I am the man who wants to become One Piece. Luffy said confidently. I want you to come on my ship and be my partner. Hey! Xia Chen was a little confused. He was just thinking about how to convince Luffy to let him on the ship. Didn't you expect it to be solved so easily? Should I say something? As expected of Luffy. Just be careful when choosing your partner. That's right, Xia Chen had already made up his mind when he saw Luffy. That's getting on Luffy's ship. Follow the protagonist group. Most of the plot islands in One Piece are related to the protagonist group. Following them coincides with his system goal. Moreover, it is not easy to die suddenly if you follow the protagonist's group, which is very safe. Although his strength seems to be good now, he is not arrogant. Are there not enough monsters in One Piece? Even if this is the East China Sea, the weakest among the four seas. But what if you accidentally encounter a golden lion one day? So, it's safer to follow Luffy and the others. And the most important thing is, when Xia Chen watched One Piece in his previous life, he envied their friendship. At that time, I even thought that it would be great if I could become one of them. Opportunities are now coming to your doorstep. You must grasp it. Thinking of this, Xia Chen said to Luffy, "Okay. But I have a condition. I want to be the first officer." "Ha ha ha, okay." Luffy happily agreed. Then, "Captain, when are you going to go to sea?" "Leave tomorrow. Let's have a full meal tonight." When he heard the word eat, Xia Chen subconsciously looked at the tiger lying there, grinning and saying, "Good." He happened to be hungry. The next day, "No, Luffy, can't you find a bigger ship?" Xia Chen looked at the boat under his feet that could barely carry two people and said helplessly, "I can't find it. This boat is already the biggest boat I can steal from the village chief's grandfather." Xia Chen couldn't help but hold his forehead. Suddenly he had some doubts about whether his decision to board Luffy's ship yesterday was right or wrong. "But there is nothing we can do now. I'm on a pirate ship and can't get off." Just then, Luffy suddenly shouted, "Xia Chen, look! There's a tornado coming towards us." "What?" Xia Chen turned around and took a look. Sure enough, the sea that was calm just now suddenly became overcast with clouds. In an instant, huge raindrops poured down from the sky. At this time, a huge tornado also hit Xia Chen and the others. "Holy shit, this is not just a pirate ship. Still a dangerous ship." Xia Chen and his team's boat was swaying in the violent storm. Especially when the tornado is about to hit them, their ship will definitely not be able to hold on. Suddenly, Xia Chen suddenly noticed two connected wine barrels floating in the distance. Eyes light up. "Got it. Luffy, have you seen those two barrels? Paddle that way quickly." "Good." Coming to the wine barrel, Xia Chen opened it and took a look. There is no wine in the barrel." Then Xia Chen turned to Luffy and shouted, "Quick, get in." "Okay." Luffy jumped in without hesitation. After all, he would be very scared as a landlubber when encountering such a situation. After seeing Luffy jump in, Xia Chen also opened another barrel and jumped in. Before closing the lid, he also pushed the boat next to him, to prevent them from getting hurt later. Above a sea area in the East China Sea, the warm sea breeze blows gently, and seagulls chirp from time to time, creating a peaceful and beautiful picture. But at this time, on a ship flying a pirate flag with a heart in a skull. "Ha ha ha, little ones! Who is the most beautiful woman in this sea?" A rough fat woman's voice came. "Of course, it's the captain of this ship. Miss Arita." A group of pirates said tremblingly. "Ha ha ha ha. Well said. No one deserves this title except me." After saying this, the woman laughed again. The fat on his face trembled under the smile. "Yes, this person is Alita, the iron rod with a bounty of 5 million. The fat pig all over makes me feel ashamed." At this moment, a fat man with pink hair shouted, "Miss Arita, I found two connected wine barrels on the sea." "Hey? A connected barrel? Go. Fish it out. Let me see what good things I have." Chapter 3. After a while, the two wine barrels were salvaged by the pirates. Arita was very happy looking at the salvaged wine barrel. With her many years of sailing experience, she could tell at a glance that the barrel was not filled with wine. The depth of draft is different. But on this sea, there is no wine in the barrels. What is most likely to be installed? Of course it is treasure. Thinking of this, Alrita happily walked towards the wine barrel. He also said, "You've done a great job, Kirby, keep up the hard work." "Yes, Miss Arita," Kirby replied tremblingly. "Treasure, I'm coming." Arita's plump hands slowly reached towards the lid of the wine barrel. Just when he was about to touch the barrel, a fist stretched out from inside, slowly enlarging in Arita's eyes. Bang! Arita was caught off guard and was knocked away. At the same time, a voice came from the position of the wine barrel. "It's so good to sleep." The pirates stared blankly at Alita, who was knocked away, and then looked at Luffy, who was stretching. An idea came to mind at the same time. This kid is dead. At the same time, another wine barrel also shattered. Hey! It seems that there is no change in the ending. Xia Chen looked at the pirates in front of him and Arita lying over there and said. I didn't expect that having him as a little butterfly would not have a big impact on the plot. I still met Arita. Xia Chen thinks this is good, at least his appearance will not affect the direction of the plot. Then isn't he equivalent to opening a profit? System hang and profit hang. Invincible. Only this time the barrels containing the two of them were not moved from merchant ships. In this case, does it mean that Nami is not on this ship now? But now is obviously not the time for Xia Chen to think so much. Arita over there is going crazy right now. He got up from the ground and shouted to Luffy, UBD, do you know what you did? Ah? Luffy looked at the furious Arita without any reaction. After picking his nose with his hand, he said, who is this rude ant? Rude, ant. The expressions of all the pirates around him changed. Arita's face was even blue with anger. He picked up the iron rod and threw it at Luffy, saying, I want you dead. Luffy dodged Arita's attack with a slight jump. Then he punched her in the face again. As expected, she flew out again. When the pirates saw this scene, they immediately stepped forward with their swords in hand. Prepare to beat up Luffy. But at this time, a figure stood in front of them. Xia Chen looked at the group of pirates and said calmly, this road is blocked. But none of these pirates cared about what Xia Chen said. A bunch of pirates who lick blood from their swords every day would be afraid of a brat like you? What a joke! Then a crowd of people swarmed up. One of the pirates wearing a turban said with a ferocious smile, you'll know when you're underground that the road is blocked. Looking at this scene, Xia Chen sighed softly. Hey! Why bother? Then Xia Chen's eyes narrowed. The figure disappeared instantly. Bang! Bang! In just a few breaths, these pirates were lying peacefully on the ground one by one. It was as if they could see their grandma waving to them. Xia Chen was not surprised at all by the situation before him. He doesn't even know how strong he is now. The indestructible body that comes with the Monkey King's fruit is really awesome. It greatly strengthened his physique. And he even inherited Brother Monkey's combat experience. Just say it's not too far off, right? Sometimes Xia Chen wonders if this system is simply a fruit setting just to allow the Monkey King to appear in the world of One Piece reasonably. Otherwise, I have never heard of any fruit that can inherit combat experience. But he didn't want to think about it. All he knows is that he is the beneficiary. Then Xia Chen turned around and saw that Luffy and Arita, who had been fighting just now, were confronting each other. Then Kirby shouted that sentence too. This man is the ugliest old woman ever. Alita shouted, you brat. Then the iron rod came down on Kirby. Luffy instantly appeared in front of Kirby and directly received the blow with his head. A smile appeared on his lips. It seems, it's useless. Gomo Gomo. Pistol. Bang. Vomit. The fist hit Arita's stomach, hitting her so hard that her eyes almost bulged out. Then, she flew into the sky like a big grey wolf. It fell into the sea far away. It's just that the classic line is missing. Xia Chen glanced at the pirates on the ground and kicked them. Hey! Go get the food out of this boat for us. If it's too late. You think about the consequences yourself. The pirates were shocked when they heard this. I forced my painful body to get up and went looking for food one by one. Luffy walked over and said with a big smile, Xia Chen, how did you know I was hungry? No. It's just that I'm hungry. After some time Xia Chen and Luffy both lay on the deck, touching their full bellies and showing happy smiles. Xia Chen found out that he didn't know if it was because he had awakened the indestructible body of Vatra. He discovered that his appetite was even greater than Luffy, a big eater. A little outrageous. It seems that Sanji will be very busy in the future after resting for a while. Xia Chen asked the pirates again, where is the treasure on your ship? Although he is not a money fan like Nami. But he needs to eat. He and Luffy really have a cleaner pocket than their face. Without some rice in my pocket, I feel uneasy. In the cabin. One of the pirates answered shakily. Why are you standing there? Take me there. Seeing the pirate looking at him blankly after finishing speaking, Xia Chen cursed angrily. Yes. Please follow me. When Xia Chen came to the place where the treasure was placed, he was very satisfied with the scene in front of him. Barry's words are 5 million. There is also some gold, jewelry, etc. Although Xia Chen doesn't know the value of these things. But I guess it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, you can go out. Close the door when you go out. Xia Chen said to the pirate who led him in. Yes. With a thought in Xia Chen's mind, all the treasures in front of him disappeared directly. He was taken into the system space. System space can only store dead objects. But there is no flow of time inside. In other words, if Li Qi put a piece of meat in, what would it look like before going in? It's what it comes out like. He has already tested this out in the past few days. The size of space is 1 trillion cubic meters. It sounds like it's huge. But in fact it is just a cube with a length, width, and height of 10,000 meters. This size actually cannot accommodate some of the larger Poseidon-like corpses in one piece. But to hold treasure? That's not how much you can put in. Everyone in the Straw Hats will act based on Nami's expression. And Nami wants to act based on the treasure. I have treasure. So in the end everyone on the boat had to look at my face to act. Correct answer. From now on, I will be the face fruit user of the Straw Hats. Chapter 4. Just when Xia Chen had collected the treasure and was about to go out. Collapse, collapse. Several huge explosions sounded. Then the ship began to tilt and rock. Xia Chen opened the hatch and came to the deck. I saw several marine warships parked on the sea in the distance. They were firing continuously at them. Kirby, didn't you say you wanted to join Marine? Go over now. Luffy's voice came. Are you kidding? Don't talk about enlisting in the army now. You'll definitely go to jail later. Kaba's angry voice came. He, a man on a pirate ship, went to Marine and said he wanted to be a Marine? I'm afraid it won't add merit to them, right? Ha ha ha. In this case, let's escape first. I'm a pirate. Xia Chen, let's go. Luffy laughed. Understood, Captain. A smile appeared on Xia Chen's lips. Not to mention, this feeling of escaping from Marine's nose seems pretty good. A small boat was thrown directly from the boat by Luffy, and then he jumped in too. Just when Xia Chen was about to go down, he saw Kaba next to him trembling and looking down. What are you doing? I'm scared, it's too high. Xia Chen couldn't help but raise his forehead after hearing this. This early Kirby is really... So Xia Chen directly grabbed Kaba's collar with one hand and smiled evilly at him. It's okay, I will help you overcome your fear. Then Xia Chen grabbed Kaba and jumped down. After some time Xia Chen and the other three finally escaped from Marine's pursuit. Smiling happily while sitting on the boat. Mr. Luffy, what are you going to do next? Next? I'm going to find a lot of great partners. I need a chef and a navigator. The most important thing is... and a musician. How can we have a party without musicians? At this point, Luffy's eyes turned into star eyes. By the way, let's go find that powerful pirate hunter you mentioned first. If he is really powerful, then I will let him be my partner. One day later. Xia Chen looked at the looming marine town in the distance. He kicked Luffy who was sleeping. Hey, Luffy! Get up, we're almost there. Hey? What's wrong, Xia Chen, is dinner ready? Can Luffy, an idiot, think of anything else besides eating? But when it comes to eating, he's a little hungry too. We'll eat meat when we get to town. Meat? Okay, okay. Luffy drooled a little as he spoke. Xia Chen instantly stepped back a meter and looked at Luffy with disgust. Disgusting. After a while, Xia Chen and Luffy finally set foot on the island. The moment he landed on the island, the long-lost system voice sounded in Xia Chen's mind. Successfully checked into Shield's Town Island and obtained Marine 6 styles, esoteric level, in an instant, a stream of knowledge poured directly into his mind. In just a moment, he mastered the 6 Marine styles. Xia Chen was very excited at this time. Although Marine 6 style is a bit bad in the later stage. But at least in the early stage it is still very strong. And this thing is just a technical thing. The higher your proficiency, the more powerful techniques you can develop. Such as Life Return, 6 King's Gun and so on. But its power is related to the user's own strength. Don't you see that even a strong man like Garp can still use the 6 styles? So it's not that the 6 styles are weak, it's just that the person using them is weak. And now the 6 moves of the secret level that Xia Chen punched in are the highest level. In other words, Xia Chen has now reached the peak in his understanding of the 6 styles. He also knows skills like Life Return and 6 King's Spear. Even more skilled than Lu Kiju. To be honest, Xia Chen is very happy to have obtained 6 styles now. His fruit currently only gives him an extremely powerful physique. But the attack methods are slightly lacking. Now the emergence of 6 styles has just made up for his weakness. He is terrifyingly strong now. It's just that no one has come to verify his strength for the time being. Monka? No. He was afraid that Menka would die if he punched him. Suddenly, Xia Chen seemed to have thought of something. A smile appeared on his lips. If it's him, it should be okay. Hiccup woohoo, so full. Xia Chen and the other 3 said in unison as they touched their round bellies. Xia Chen, where did you get so many berries? Of course it came from the Arita ship, Xia Chen said lightly while drinking a drink. Hey? Then I didn't see you wearing it either. Xia Chen rolled his eyes when he heard this. I used my ability to create a space, and then put all the treasures on the ship in it. Oh. Sikui, Xia Chen, you are so awesome. Are you also a devil fruit user? Why haven't I heard you say that before? You didn't even ask. After eating and drinking, the group went to get down to business. Target Marine Base. After a while, everyone arrived in front of the Marine Base. Finally, can you join Marine? Kaba next to him burst into tears. Then he said passionately, Mr. Xia Chen, Mr. Luffy, we are about to say goodbye here. Although this period of time is very short, but... Stop! Xia Chen directly interrupted Kabi. He looked at Kabi with a half-smile and said, don't be so excited now, you may think differently later. This is the marine base ruled by Monka, and the marine inside can no longer be called justice. Each and every one of them has decayed to the extreme. And Kabi is a man with a righteous heart. I wonder what you will think when you see this situation? Just when Xia Chen was thinking, a sound of falling to the ground came. I saw that Luffy beside me had disappeared from the spot at some point. Jumped into the execution ground. You are fast enough. Without thinking much, Xia Chen jumped in directly. Only Kabi was left standing alone and messy in the wind. As soon as I entered, Xia Chen saw Luffy talking to a man wearing a black turban and tied to a shelf. Suoda. I finally see you. Xia Chen murmured, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Then slowly walked towards them. Hey, I say you, come be my partner. Come become a pirate with me. No. I don't want to join the evil forces. Zoro curled his lips and said. But now you are said to be an evil bounty hunter. Okay, never mind. Anyway, I have decided to let you be my partner. I heard people say you are a swordsman, right? Where's your knife? Taken away by the colonel's idiot son. Oh, Luffy clapped his hands when he heard this. Then I'll help you get the knife back, and you can be my partner. Otherwise, I won't give it to you. You guy. Zoro's teeth started to itch. Good guy, how dare you threaten him? Okay, I'm going. After saying that, Luffy ran towards the base. Xia Chen also walked slowly to Zoro at this time. Chapter 5. Zoro, what do you say? Aren't you hungry after not eating for 20 days? Xia Chen asked looking at Zoro in front of him. To be honest, he still admired Zoro on this point. If it were him, he might be the same as Luffy. If you don't eat for a few days, you will starve to death. Are you with that boy in the straw hat? Don't compare me with you, my perseverance is beyond your imagination. Hearing this, Xia Chen nodded in agreement. Really? Throughout the entire One Piece world, there are few who can match Suoda's perseverance. The phrase nothing happened moved countless people. But Xia Chen won't be like that idiot Luffy, who has already walked in front of him. Why not untie Zoro first? In the end, it was up to him, the wise and capable deputy captain, to take action. Then Xia Chen waved his fingers in the air a few times. Several miniature air blades shot out as Xia Chen waved his fingers. Cut the rope off Zoro's body directly. That's right, he used Lan Jiao's skills. As for why you can use your fingers to perform this technique? Keiku can use his neck, but there's no reason why he can't use his fingers. Zoro stepped off the shelf and stretched. A smile appeared on his lips. I'm not used to being tied up for so long. Xia Chen thought, and a piece of meat appeared in his hand. Then he threw it towards Zoro. Zoro took it and started chewing it. Hey? Aren't you afraid that I'll poison you? Xia Chen was a little curious. Why were you so relieved of him? If you wanted to kill me, you could have done it when I was tied up just now. There is no need to put me down. Zoro replied flatly. Yes. Yes. Zoro's IQ seems to be online, and he won't be like that idiot Luffy. Just when Xia Chen still wanted to chat with Zoro, there was movement on top of the distant building. Xia Chen turned around and looked. At this time, a huge stone statue was slowly being pulled up by dozens of ropes. At this time, Luffy's arm was also on the edge of the roof wall. Xia Chen smiled knowingly. It looks like there's something good to watch. Then he grabbed Zoro by the collar, who was still eating meat. Zoro, on the other hand, was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. When Xia Chen suddenly attacked him just now, he actually wanted to resist. But before he could react, he found that he had been caught. Then he flew into the sky. Number degree. At this time, Xia Chen was seen stepping on Zoro in the air. The figures of the two people also moved towards the roof of the building at high speed. Who are you? Can it still fly? At this time, Zoro was completely confused. Can you still play like this? The eyes looking at Xia Chen were also full of solemnity. A thought flashed through my mind. This man is a strong man. After a while, the two of them reached the top of the building. At this time, Luffy also flew up from below. Ah! It flew too far. Luffy yelled subconsciously. Then his hand unconsciously rested on the stone statue of Nika. Then, boom! There was the sound of heavy objects hitting the ground. Menka's stone statue fell into two halves. Oh! Everyone was stunned in place at this time. Looking at this situation, Luffy said sheepishly, "Sorry. I'm going to kill you." Menka roared loudly. "This is the guy who hit me, Dad!" Bellamab shouted. But the next second, Luffy appeared in front of him. His face was so frightened that he was deformed. "It's you, come on, I want to take you to find something." Then Luffy carried Bellamab and ran downstairs. Xia Chen stood on the roof and said to Zoro, "Go ahead, you can find your knife if you follow them." Zoro hesitated after hearing this. "Would it be okay for you to be alone here? Menka is quite strong." Pretty strong?" Xia Chen asked, picking his nose and pointing at Menka. "Are you kidding me? I'll beat up as many of these pieces of trash as they come. Stop talking so much. Get down quickly. Without a knife, it's useless even if you stay here." Xia Chen disparaged Zoro without any courtesy. Indeed, the current Zoro is not strong enough, and the swordless style has not yet been developed. It's really a bit redundant to stay here. Zoro's face was a little dark at the moment, although he knew what Xia Chen said was true. But don't I want to lose face? Without saying another word, Zoro turned and chased Luffy and the others. Menka on the other side was completely angry. First, the stone statue was damaged by a damn boy wearing a straw hat. Then he was told that he was a waste by a brat who also looked like a young boy. It is unbearable. He can't bear it either. He roared loudly and rushed towards Xia Chen. When he approached Xia Chen, he struck him down with an axe. But the expression on Xia Chen's face did not change at all. Lips slightly parted. Paper painting. Xia Chen dodged Menka's attack with just a hair's breadth. To be fair, although he is now many times stronger than Menka. But after all, he just obtained the Marine 6th form. I still kind of want to try these techniques. Even though he has reached the pinnacle in his understanding of the 6 styles. But what is directly instilled by the system is definitely different from what he experiences personally. Menka, on the other hand, snorted disdainfully after seeing Xia Chen dodge his attack. "Boy, you are very lucky." Yes, he didn't think that Xia Chen escaped his attack by relying on his strength. Just thought it was luck. After all, with his knowledge, he didn't know anything about Marine 6 styles. Then he said, "With this blow, I will definitely kill you." After speaking, he raised his axe and attacked Xia Chen. Xia Chen smiled contemptuously and said nothing. After some time at this time, Menka was breathing heavily. The look in Xia Chen's eyes was full of shock. During this period, he launched at least hundreds of attacks on Xia Chen. But every time it was just right. At this time, no matter how stupid he was, he knew that the young man in front of him was not simple. But he still didn't think he would lose. In his opinion, Xia Chen just knows how to hide. It is definitely not as good as him in terms of hard power. Then he said excitedly to General Xia Chen, "Are you just going to keep hiding? Do you dare to confront me head-on? Come." Xia Chen hooked his hands towards Menka. "I won't hide this time." Menka's face showed joy when he heard this. "Still too young. It's so easy to lose your temper. Then let your grandpa Menka send you to hell." After saying that, Menka ran towards Xia Chen and jumped up high when he was about to reach Xia Chen. "Raise the axe above your head." He slashed hard at Xia Chen. Clang! Chapter 6. The roar of gold and iron clashing came. Menka had a look of horror on his face. He said in disbelief, How is this possible?" When the camera turned, Xia Chen could be seen firmly catching Menka's axe with just one finger. And there are no scars on the fingers. It should not be said, although the iron block is jokingly called the most rubbish 6 styles. But it is still used by many people. In the early stage, the effect is actually quite large. It was just replaced by armed color haki later on. Xia Chen looked at Menka calmly and said, "You have been attacking for so long, so it should be me next, right?" At this time, Menka had not recovered from the previous shock. Suddenly hearing Xia Chen's words, his body trembled. An idea came to my mind subconsciously. No. Xia Chen's fist instantly appeared in front of Menka and hit him directly in the stomach. Puff! Menka took off instantly, vomiting a mouthful of blood in the air. He flew out from the rooftop of the building and fell towards the execution ground below. Shave! Xia Chen's figure instantly disappeared from the middle of the rooftop, and then appeared on the edge of the rooftop. Quietly looking at Menka lying on the ground vomiting blood. He immediately lost consciousness after a while. To be honest, this result was due to Xia Chen using a lot of strength. He originally wanted to punch Menka casually and make him suffer. Then leave the final ending to Zoro. But it's a pity. He overestimated Menka and underestimated himself. Unexpectedly, this guy couldn't withstand it after only using 30% of his strength. This way Zoro won't have a chance to practice. But it doesn't matter. There is no improvement after fighting this kind of rookie. Just leave the next few experience packs to Zoro. Talk about CAO arrives. Luffy's voice came from the stairs. Xia Chen, wait a minute, Zoro and I are here to help you. But when Luffy and the others went up to the roof, they saw an extremely strange scene. At this time, Xia Chen was standing at the edge of the roof. The other ones are the marine sidekicks who are huddled in the corner. There was deep fear in his eyes when he looked at Xia Chen. Luffy didn't think too much and asked Xia Chen directly, "Where's the big axe?" "Here, he's lying down there." Xia Chen pursed his lips toward the bottom. Question marks appeared above Luffy and Zoro's heads. Then he walked over and looked down. At this time, Menka was seen lying peacefully on the ground of the execution ground, surrounded by blood stains. They were all just vomited. "Sai-kui, Xia Chen, you are so awesome." Low-key. Isn't this normal?" Xia Chen said it was normal, but the expression on his face completely betrayed him. That mouth Kakuzu is about to reach the sky. Next to him, Zoro was very surprised to see Xia Chen take care of Menka so quickly. It seemed like what he expected. Xia Chen is indeed a strong man. Looking at the two people, Zoro smiled. It seems that the days to come will not be boring. After a while, Xia Chen looked at Luffy and Zoro a little surprised. That's right, just now when Xia Chen and Menka were playing. Luffy has already abducted Zoro onto the ship. He originally thought that it would take a lot of effort to trick Zoro into boarding the ship when the plot was a little off. I didn't expect Luffy to solve it so easily. Should we say that this is Wang Luffy's personality charm? Xia Chen smiled. Since then, Zoro has officially become the third crew member of the Straw Hat crew. Let's go. Let's go to the town to eat meat. Xia Chen said happily. Meat? Luffy's eyes instantly turned into star eyes. Okay, let's go. Luffy jumped up on the spot and ran towards the town. Seeing Luffy's appearance, Zoro smiled disdainfully. What's so good about meat? Hey? I remember you were very happy when I gave it to you just now. Xia Chen asked quietly. Zoro's face froze for a moment, and after a while he said harshly, I was too hungry. Didn't you say you have the most perseverance? Xia Chen tortured his soul again. Xia Chen, you're looking for death, aren't you? Zoro immediately fumed. Ha ha ha. Feeling this harmonious atmosphere, Xia Chen felt very happy. Then he said, what if there's still wine? Wine. The anger on Zoro's face disappeared instantly and was replaced by a longing expression. Then he cleared his throat. Ahem, let's go then. After saying that, he ran towards Luffy's figure. Still shouting, Luffy, why are you running so fast? Then he looked back. Xia Chen, if you don't come here, you will be the last one. A smile appeared on Xia Chen's lips. That's impossible. Then use moonwalk to fly into the sky instantly, and then use moonwalk and shave together. Constantly teleporting in the air. He even taunted Zoro when he passed him. I'm not the slowest now. Goodbye. Then disappear instantly. You cheated, knight. Gulu after eating and drinking, Luffy and Zoro lay down in the room and fell asleep. But at this time, Xia Chen stood up. Pushed the gate of opening and walked out. Moonwalk took off and disappeared into the vast night. In just a few breaths, Xia Chen arrived at the marine base. During the day, I had been having S*X with Luffy and the others. I almost forgot about the real thing. As soon as Xia Chen entered the base, he saw a man sitting on the wall of the execution ground. Out of curiosity, Xia Chen went over to take a look. Hey, isn't this Bellamyber? Why, after your father fell, you came out to look at the stars in melancholy. Bellamyber, who was staring blankly at the sky, suddenly heard a sound and almost fell off the wall in fright. And when he turned around and saw Xia Chen speaking. I didn't fall down at first, but I did fall down now. Xia Chen was a little dissatisfied when he saw Bellamyber looking so afraid of him. Why, I look fierce. No. No. Then why are you so afraid of me? Well. Bellamyber was speechless at this time. You beat my father to the last breath. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Xia Chen shook his head and did not continue to care about him. Asked him directly, hey, you guys at the marine base, Barry, where do you keep the treasures? Take me there. Yes. Bellamyber trembled and responded quickly. Soon after, under the leadership of Bellamyber, Xia Chen arrived at his destination. This is where the treasure is stored. Very good. I can just go in by myself, you don't have to follow me. After saying that, Xia Chen pushed the gate of opening and walked in. As soon as he entered the door, Xia Chen saw a dark shadow flashing past in a trance. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Interesting. Chapter 7. Xia Chen came to the piled treasures. These treasures were piled neatly and orderly, as if they had been sorted out by someone. Suddenly, a dark figure appeared behind Xia Chen. The black shadow took the stick and hit Xia Chen's neck hard. The sound of the stick being swung empty came, causing the black shadow's body to tremble unconsciously. Where are people, people? Miss, it's not a good habit to do something behind your back. The sudden sound behind him startled the black shadow. He quickly turned around and took a few steps back. Then the figure gradually emerged. Orange hair, blue and white clothes, yellow shorts. Who else could it be if not Nami? At this time, Nami looked at Xia Chen, who was smiling faintly across from him, with a drop of cold sweat on his forehead. An emotion called fear emerged from her heart. She didn't see how the person in front of her disappeared just now. At this moment, countless thoughts flashed through her mind. It's over. She just attacked him. This person won't kill her, right? If he really attacks her, she has no ability to resist at all. What to do, what to do? Hey? Wait, we have it. A look of pity suddenly appeared on Nami's face. He said to Xia Chen pitifully, I really didn't mean to attack you just now. I thought you were one of those bad guys from this base, Marine. You know, I'm a girl and I don't have the power to tie a chicken. It would be over if I fell into the hands of those Marines, that's why I did this. Can you forgive me? What he said was a true expression of his feelings. But Xia Chen didn't speak, and still looked at her with a faint smile. I thought to myself, it's okay if you lie to Luffy, but if you lie to me, it might be a little bit worse. But since Nami likes acting so much, it seems that it is not impossible for him to act with her, so Xia Chen pretended to be sinister and said, How do you know I'm not the marine here? GGG. Oh. Nami was suddenly speechless. Should she say that she came in to steal? Oh, no, before taking the treasure. I've been staying here for a while and I haven't seen you at all? This reason doesn't seem to work. Just when Nami was still thinking about finding a good reason, Xia Chen interrupted her thoughts. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. I'm a generous person, so let's forget about your sneak attack on me. Now let's get down to business. If I guess correctly, you are here to steal the treasure, right? You too? Nami asked curiously. No. Then what are you here for? I'm here to be saved. Hey? What do you mean? Nami was confused. I just need these treasures to help me, do you understand? So the two of us ended up being kindred spirits. Nami held back her words for a long time. This was the first time she had seen someone talk about stealing things in such a refreshing and refined way. Learned. From now on, she will often go to be helped. You're right to say that. Xia Chen said calmly. So. I want the treasure here, do you have any objections? What? Nami's face instantly turned ugly. She had just worked so hard to move these treasures and sort them out. I'm just going to move them all out later. As a result, an uninvited guest appeared on the way and immediately took the fruits of her labor as his own. But, what can she do? Oh. Don't wait for Xiaoming's explanation here, everyone is still waiting for her to rescue her. So she could only force out a forced smile. No. No objection. Looking at Nami's expression, Xia Chen seemed to be smiling. With Nami's character that he was familiar with, making this decision was a heart-wrenching decision. It's just that I have no choice but to do this. Actually, it's not impossible to give these treasures to you. Xia Chen said with a faint smile. Oh. Really? An excited smile appeared on Nami's face. She originally thought that these treasures would be missed by her, but she didn't expect that she would have a chance to get them in the end. Then, how can you give it to me? Simple, I just need you to agree to one condition. Conditions? Nami was a little confused. Then when he saw Xia Chen's half-smiling smile as he looked at her, he immediately crossed his arms and shouted angrily, you should give up on this idea, it's impossible. Xia Chen? I haven't said anything yet? Seeing Nami's actions, he knew what she was thinking. Several black lines appeared on his forehead. I'm not interested in the airport, okay? To be honest, Nami is really not interested at this age. The figure is far worse than it was 2 years later. If Nami was 2 years later, maybe he could still consider it. 2 years later, Nami's figure is in great shape, and her mind has become broader. That's good. Nami patted his chest and said with relief. Although you are very handsome, I am not a casual person. Stop. If you keep saying this, I won't give it to you later. Nami, who wanted to say something more after hearing Xia Chen's words, immediately closed her mouth and made a gesture of pulling her mouth. Listen, the condition I want you to agree to is. Promise me a condition. Nami? Are you here to play tongue twisters? Perhaps Xia Chen also felt that what he said was a bit ambiguous, so he continued, what I mean is that you promise me a condition, but I haven't thought about this condition yet. I will tell you when I think of it later. Of course, within your ability. How about it? Okay. Nami nodded like a woodpecker. Just kidding, I definitely agree. Isn't this just a blank check? Later? I'm not sure whether you'll be able to meet my mother in the future. Thinking of this, Nami suddenly became happy. After going round and round, the treasure finally returned to her hands. Although there were a few twists and turns along the way. But it didn't hurt, and in the end no price was paid. Seeing Nami's happy look, Xia Chen knew what she was probably thinking. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised. Nami, you can't escape. Okay, I'll leave first, please do as you please. After saying that, Xia Chen's figure disappeared instantly. Nami, who stayed where she was, couldn't help but feel her heart skip a beat. Again, there was nothing to see and no one was there. Suddenly she regretted agreeing too early. What would she do if she met him in the future? Forget it, just don't meet me again in the future, okay? When I collect 100 million and give it to the evil dragon, I will stay in Xia Village and not go out. If I don't go anywhere, I don't believe he can still know that I am in Xia Village. After thinking about it, Nami turned around and looked at the treasures everywhere. The eyes suddenly changed into the shape of berry. Make a lot of money. Chapter 8. Xia Chen stood on the top of the marine base, looking at Nami who was moving piles of treasures away below. A smile spread across his lips. Although it is true that the purpose of his visit this time is also for this pile of treasure. But he just wanted to increase his savings. There was actually enough berry left in him to last the three of them for a while. So when I met Nami, I gave it to her directly. Using this treasure in exchange for Nami's condition was very worthwhile in his opinion. And Nami's money will be given to the dragon when the time comes. When the time comes, he can just go find the evil dragon to help him. Simple things will eventually return to his pocket, all the same. Okay, go back to sleep. Early the next morning. Luffy, if you eat so much again, you'll pay for your meals yourself. Also, Zoro, you too, who told you to order the most expensive wine every time? In a tavern in the town, Xia Chen had a few veins popping up on his head and said angrily to Luffy and Zoro. Damn, he's so sloppy. Is it too late for him to go to Nami and get those treasures back? Luffy and Zoro, these two cheaters, really squandered the rest of his berry. What does this have to do with it, Xia Chen? Don't be so stingy. Luffy said while stuffing meat into his mouth. That's right, that's right. Do you think you are too small now? Zoro also agreed. Clang. Clang. Xia Chen instantly came to Luffy and Zoro's side, trembling violently at each of them. Kabi, who was watching this scene, was trembling with fear. An idea came to mind. Mr. Xia Chen, you are so cruel. Luffy and Zoro both hit their heads on the ground at the same time. But the reaction was completely different. Xia Chen, you kid, Lao Zi is going to chop you down. Zoro was furious. Hey, Xia Chen, I'm a rubber man, you can't hurt me if you hit me. Luffy said provocatively. Pete. Xia Chen's fire surged up again instantly. Looking at Luffy, he thought viciously, when Lao Zi masters domineering, he will beat you until you don't even recognize your grandfather. So what should I do now that Xia Chen's anger has not subsided? Of course he was taking it out on some third-rate swordsman who wanted to kill him. Hey hey. After some time Xia Chen happily ate meat, while Zoro drank wine with a pig's head on his head, looking at Xia Chen with eyes full of resentment. Bang bang. Just then, a group of marines came in outside the door. He said to Xia Chen and the others, while we are grateful that you helped us out of our misery, but I am marine and you are pirates. Please leave this island. As soon as the words fell, many dissatisfied voices suddenly sounded in the tavern. Are you marine sick? Are you treating our benefactor like this? I don't agree. My benefactor can leave whenever he wants. It's not your turn to make the decision. After hearing what these villagers said, Luffy was silent for a while. Then he said, okay, let's go. Xia Chen, Zoro, let's go. Xia Chen and Zoro stood up and followed Luffy outside. Just then, the marine's voice came from behind. Aren't you also with them? After hearing this, Luffy turned around and looked at the helpless Kabi behind him. Then Luffy smiled. He walked up to Kabi and told him all about what happened on Arita's ship. Kirby, on the other hand, was worried that Marine would not let him join Marine if he knew that he had been on a pirate ship. So when Luffy kept talking more and more, Kabi couldn't help but punch Luffy. UBD. Oh, how dare you hit me? Luffy said angrily. Then the two of them kept greeting each other with punches. The Marine saw this scene and said hurriedly, hey, stop it, I won't allow you to cause trouble on this island anymore. I believe you are no longer in the same group. After hearing this, Luffy stopped what he was doing, and then slowly walked outside. The three of them were walking on the path out of the island. Hey! Is this going too far? Zoro asked Luffy. No. Kabi can handle it on his own. Let's trust him. Luffy said with a smile. Xia Chen nodded in the same way. After all, Kabi will be the king of deserters in the future, how could he not handle this trivial matter well? Thinking of this, Xia Chen couldn't help but reveal a smile. Kirby, I'll give you a few months to see your changes. Luffy came to the shore, put down the rope that tied the boat, and the three of them jumped onto the boat. At this time, Kaba suddenly came running from the shore. Looking at Xia Chen and the others, they said, "Thank you, I really appreciate you taking care of me along the way. But I won't show mercy next time we meet. It's the first time I see Marine thank a pirate. It's so strange." Zoro curled his lips. "There will be more in the future," Xia Chen said lightly. "Bye, Kabi. See you next time." Luffy shouted and waved. The boat slowly moved away as everyone in the town watched. One day later. "Oh, I'm so hungry." Luffy slumped on the boat helplessly. "My stomach is growling." "Indeed, I'm a little hungry too." Xia Chen nodded in agreement. Then Xia Chen took out a piece of meat from the space and started chewing it. It smells so good." Luffy, who saw Xia Chen eating, immediately came up to him. I want it too." Xia Chen casually took out 2 more pieces of meat from the system space and threw 1 piece to each of Luffy and Zoro. "Xia Chen, your fruit power is so useful," Luffy said enviously. "If I could be like you, I could take a lot of meat with me wherever I go. I'm so happy." Xia Chen and Zoro were speechless when they heard this. The two looked at each other and had the same thought in their minds. It's really bad luck for them to have such a captain. "By the way, how long can we stay like this?" Zoro suddenly asked. "I don't know, just drift by. This is how Luffy and I come when we go to sea." Xia Chen replied calmly. "And speaking of this," Xia Chen's lips raised a smile. "There will be something to take us there later." "What do you mean?" Before Zoro could understand what Xia Chen meant, he saw Xia Chen's eyes suddenly looking towards the sky. "Look, something is coming." Zoro looked up and saw a huge bird flying in the sky. "You mean, this bird takes us?" "Correct answer." Xia Chen lightly snapped his fingers. "Are you kidding? This bird flies so fast, how can our ship catch up?" Zoro looked at Xia Chen as if he were an idiot. "Who said we were going to take a boat?" A meaningful smile appeared on Xia Chen's face. "The one we're going to sit on is, bird." Then, Zoro and Luffy were grabbed by Xia Chen one by one, and they used moonwalk to quickly approach the bird. "BD, what are you doing?" Zoro's eyes widened. Luffy, on the other hand, was laughing and joking. "Woohoo, so exciting!" Bang! Bang! After a few steps on the space, Xia Chen was already close to the bird, and after another step, he landed on the bird's back. Chapter 9. The moment the 3 people came up, the bird suddenly gained so much weight on its back that it fell directly down. Xia Chen immediately teleported to the bird's head. "Put your fingers against its head." Then he said in very kind words, "If you don't want us to eat roasted birds as a snack today, just fly as hard as you can." In an instant, the bird froze and its huge wings flapped continuously, restabilizing its balance. Although it couldn't understand what Xia Chen said, it felt murderous intent. "For the sake of your own life, it's okay to be a little tired." Woohoo! Luffy looked around excitedly, and he was extremely excited. Zoro was lying on the bird's back, looking helpless. An idea came to mind. "If you stay with this group of people, you will have to finish playing sooner or later. No one is normal." After some time, because the mounts under them were very powerful, they soon saw a looming island. Xia Chen's eyes suddenly showed excitement. "Finally arrived at Orange Town, I wonder what abilities I can get from signing in this time?" He was very satisfied with what he signed in the first 2 times. And there is one of the future 4 emperors on this island, Qian Liangdea Hua Buggy. Xia Chen is actually quite curious, as one of the trainee crew members of One Piece. The red-haired best friend of the 4 emperors, or gay friend for short. As for why they are said to be gay, you will know if you pronounce the red-haired Buggy upside down. Buggy's strength is still a mystery. Although he has always acted very good, I don't know if he is really good. Xia Chen wants to find out more. 10 minutes later, Xia Chen and the others were only a few hundred meters away from the island, but something unexpected happened at this time. Their mounts are dying. After flying with 3 people on its back for so long, it has reached the limit of its physical strength. Even if I want to kill or cut it, it can't fly this time. Seeing this scene, Xia Chen was a little helpless. Why don't you insist a little longer? There are many things, but it only takes a short time to achieve the right results. Hey! Void Bird! There was no other choice but to drag these 2 idiots away, as the deputy captain. Then Xia Chen lifted Luffy and Zoro up one by one like before. It seems that we have to find a boat quickly, otherwise when there are more people in the future, there will not be so many hands to carry it. After such an experience, Zoro's reaction this time was obviously less intense. Although I was still a little frightened when I looked down, there was no longer any yelling at the beginning. After a while, the three of them arrived at Orange Town. The moment he set foot in the town, a beautiful and familiar voice sounded in Xia Chen's mind. Ding! Successfully checked into Orange Town. Obtained armed color haki, elementary, knowledge color haki, elementary, domineering. He also said before that when he mastered armament haki, he would also let Luffy taste the power of Love's fist. Isn't it coming now? Thinking of this, Xia Chen said directly to Luffy, Hey, Luffy, come here. What are you doing? Xia Chen. Luffy walked over her slowly. Then Xia Chen suddenly hit Luffy on the head with his fist. Ah! It hurts, it hurts. A big bump suddenly appeared on Luffy's head, rolling on the ground. It hurts? Aren't you a rubber man? How could it hurt? Zoro next to him said in surprise. I don't know either. Luffy covered his head and looked at Xia Chen with a hint of fear in his eyes. Xia Chen hits me now just like my grandfather hit me. It hurts like hell. Hey! Xia Chen was very happy after seeing the results of the test. Let's see if you dare to be arrogant in front of me next time. This is a fistful of love. Of course it will hurt when I hit you. Xia Chen said lightly. Then he turned around and walked back. Love. Luffy was a little confused, then clapped his hands. My grandpa said the same thing before. It turns out that as long as there is love, you can beat me hard. Suga. Zoro. Can you be any more idiotic? Zoro pondered, he seemed to have seen a faint light flickering on Xia Chen's fist just now. Not surprisingly, that is the key to hurting Luffy. What is that? Zoro gradually became lost in thought as he watched Xia Chen's retreating figure. It seemed that the vice-captain was hiding very deep. Let's go, what are you two doing? Xia Chen turned to look at Zoro and Luffy who were stuck in place and said. Oh, good. Xia Chen, there's no one in this town. Luffy asked confused. Well, I'm not sure either. Xia Chen replied. Although he knew that everyone moved away because the buggy pirates were here. But doesn't it sound too suspicious to say it? So it's better to pretend to be confused because you understand. Just as the three of them continued walking into the town. A furious cry came from the distance. Stop, thief, don't run. Xia Chen and the others turned around and saw three big men chasing a woman with orange hair. The moment Xia Chen saw this woman, a smile appeared on his lips. Nami, we meet again so soon. At this time, Nami over there also noticed Xia Chen and the other three standing here, with a glint in his eyes. While running towards this side, he shouted, Boss, have you come to rescue me? You're really good at taking the blame as always, Nami. Xia Chen raised his right hand and pointed it in Nami's direction. Finger gun. In an instant, 3 chi energies burst out from Xia Chen's fingers. Speeding towards Nami. Whoosh. 3 fingers grazed Nami's body and flew back. Puff. There was a sound that penetrated the body, and the 3 pirates chasing her fell down. Wow! Xia Chen, how did you do this? You are so handsome. Luffy instantly turned into star eyes. Zoro next to him also looked at Xia Chen curiously. This is quite difficult. Let me talk about the key points and see if you can understand it. After hearing this, Luffy and Zoro stretched their necks instantly, looking like good students. Although they don't rely on this to fight, they have so many skills that they can't do it. This move mainly depends on talent. Okay, I'm done. It's up to you how much you can understand. But it should be difficult to understand it with your pig brains. Luffy, Zoro. I'm going to beat you away. I'm going to chop you. Bang. Bang. Zoro and Luffy both lay on the ground and raised their hands. Private Marseille. You two, you can't tell who is the big king, right? Xia Chen clapped his hands and said calmly. At this time, Nami, who was watching this scene from the opposite side, was stunned. Is this something humans can do? Chapter 10. Forgive her for being a little ignorant, she has never seen anyone knock down an enemy with just a snap of their fingers. In this case, can she? Or perhaps thinking of something, Nami ran directly to the three of them and said to Xia Chen, let's cooperate. Well, you have to talk to my captain, I'm just the deputy captain. Here, this is the one wearing the straw hat. Oh. Nami then turned to look at Luffy and asked again. Let's cooperate. No. Luffy said, picking his nose. Ah, why? There is a big bad guy named Buggy in this town. Let's go and snatch his treasure together. No. Luffy said the same thing. Seeing this, Xia Chen couldn't stand it anymore. According to this situation, if you keep talking, you may be repeating these few sentences. So he opened his mouth and said, we cooperate with you, what leverage can you bring? To be honest, your strength can't help you at all, and you will have to divide the treasure when the time comes. I don't see your value. Nami didn't know what to say when she heard this. Xia Chen was telling the truth. With his strength, there was no need to take her with him. So what should she use to impress Xia Chen? At this time, Xia Chen's pointed voice came. Of course, if you know how to sail, you can consider it. My navigation skills are very strong, much better than many navigators. Really? Luffy next to him became excited. Then you join our pirate group, we are short of a navigator now. Are you pirates? Upon hearing this, Nami, who was in high spirits just now, instantly darkened her face. That's right. Because I made an agreement with someone to become one piece. Luffy said, taking off his straw hat. Forget it. What I hate most is pirates, and I won't join the pirate group. Why? Luffy asked unwillingly. Just join us, our pirate team is very good. Pirates are good? I have never seen any pirates who are good. Nami said disdainfully. Pirates are a group of bastards who only occupy other people's villages and oppress the villagers. Nami gritted his teeth and said bitterly. We won't do such a thing. Just join us. What we need most now is navigators. Luffy invited again. Nami was still about to refuse, but suddenly the sound of a group of pirates came from outside the window. Nami walked to the window and looked a little ugly. We have to find a way to get rid of them. Then Nami seemed to think of something, walked over and said, okay, I can join you, but now I have to. After saying that, Nami took out some ropes and tried to tie Xia Chen and the others up. Hey! Wait! Xia Chen hurriedly interrupted her action. There's no need, we can just go in directly. Just kidding, how could he be tied up to meet Buggy with such strength? In the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies and tricks are nothing. Hey? Are you sure? Buggy is very powerful, and there is a big pirate with a bounty of 15 million. Upon hearing this, Xia Chen's mouth twitched slightly. The East China Sea is the East China Sea, and the reward of 15 million yuan is for a big pirate. It's okay, we are very strong. Right, Luffy, Zoro? Hehe, of course. So, let's go directly to him. After saying that, Xia Chen walked outside. When he reached the door, he suddenly stopped. By the way, where is Buggy? Xia Chen's hegemony of knowledge and color is only at the elementary level now, and it can't cover a large area, so he can't sense Buggy's aura. Nami. Come with me. Nami waved his hand and walked out. Oh, are you going to meet the pirates here? I feel a little excited. Luffy said with a smile. Then the group of people walked behind Nami. After some time they came under a building. Nami pointed to the top and said, Buggy and the others are up there, let's make a battle plan now. Combat plan? No need. Xia Chen said lightly. Then he reached out to Luffy and Zoro and grabbed their collars. Then just threw them up. Xia Chen, I will definitely kill you one day. TCH, it's a harmless threat. Then Xia Chen turned his head and looked at Nami. Nami's forehead immediately shed a drop of cold sweat. I can take the stairs, I don't need this convenient way to go upstairs. Xia Chen looked at her and bared his teeth and said, it's too slow to walk up the stairs. Don't worry, you are a girl, I won't throw you away. Oh, that's good. Nami breathed a sigh of relief, but before she could finish breathing, she found that Xia Chen grabbed her collar and lifted her up. Then, it's flying. A minute ago. What, you let the thief escape? Buggy looked at the three boys in front of him angrily. Yeah, sorry, Captain Buggy. She has a boss who can shoot invisible bullets. We are no match for him. Look, we all still have wounds on our bodies now. As he said this, the entire pirate gang pulled up their clothes to reveal their wounds. Hey? Invisible bullets. Buggy rubbed his chin in thought. Is he a devil fruit user? After thinking for a long time, he couldn't think of a reason, so he gave up. Instead, he continued to look at the three pirates and smiled ferociously. I only care about the result. Since you let her go, then just die. After saying this, Buggy was about to activate his disintegration ability, but a sound interrupted his movement. Ah! Hey? Who is that barking? Buggy stood up and asked. Then his younger brothers outside seemed to have seen something and ran away instantly. Buggy was angry when he saw this scene. Hey, you guys! Bang! Before Buggy could finish his words, the tent above his head suddenly collapsed, and then a person crashed down on him. Puff! Buggy was instantly pushed to the ground, and his face came into close contact with the ground, especially his big red nose which was squeezed flat. Buggy became even more angry and wanted to cut the person who hit him into pieces. I just wanted to get up, but... another one fell down and just hit him. This caused his body, which had just climbed up a little, to be pressed down again, and harder than before. This has to be said that Xia Chen's technique is better, both of them throw the same trajectory. Focus on a precise strike. Luffy, luckily you are there to cushion me. Xia Chen, UBD. Zoro said bitterly. Actually, it's okay if you fall to other places, the ground is soft. Luffy said happily. Really or not? Of course it's true. Look, it's still a bit flexible. Luffy stood up and jumped on the spot a few times. Hey? Let me try. Zoro also stepped on a few tentative feet. Hey? Really? I don't know what material the floor here is made of, it's so soft. Just as they were having fun stepping on it, the floor beneath them suddenly moved. Then there was a roar. Of course, it's made with my meat, you two bastards. Luffy, Zoro, Yashao, the floor, actually spoke. Chapter 11. Come down here, you two bastards. When another sound came from the floor beneath them, Luffy and Zoro finally realized that the person sitting beneath them was someone. Luffy quickly came down, opened the tent, and dragged Buggy out. Then he shouted, Private Marseille. Boy, I want you to die. Buggy shouted loudly. Then several knives stretched out from the fingers and stabbed Luffy hard. Zoro, who saw this scene next to him, condensed his eyes, and Hideo Yuan instantly got out of his body and blocked Buggy's attack. He said with a bad face, we rescued you with good intentions, but it's not a good idea for you to do this, right? Buggy almost laughed when he heard this. Save me? Laozi was staying in the tent, and he didn't know how comfortable he was. As a result, you two idiots fell right over my head from nowhere. He stepped on it a few more times. You said if Laozi doesn't kill you, who will you kill? Suddenly, Buggy thought of a good idea, put the knife back in his hand, and asked Luffy and Zoro, who are you? What do you want to do in my Uncle Buggy's place? Buggy, Red Nose, are you Buggy the Clown? Luffy asked in surprise. We're here to get your treasure. Buggy? Zoro. Everyone. Zoro really wanted to shoot Luffy, the idiot captain, to death at this moment. Who taught you to talk like this? Pull it out and chop it. But since Luffy said so, he has nothing to worry about. That's right, we are here to get your treasure. If you are sensible, please hand over the treasure quickly, or I'll kill you. You two are so brave. Just say you're here to steal my treasure. It doesn't matter if you chop me to death. But you dare to call me Red Nose. Are you laughing at me? Buggy yelled. Don't you have a red nose? Luffy tilted his head cutely. The red-nosed Buggy's nose almost turned crooked when he heard it again. He said angrily, I want you to die. Immediately afterwards, an arm that appeared behind Luffy at some point stabbed Luffy with several dazzling knives. At this time, neither Luffy nor Zoro seemed to notice this situation. Looking at the knife getting closer and closer to Luffy, a sinister smile flashed across Buggy's lips. Succeeded. Just when the knife was about to hit Luffy, Buggy suddenly found that he couldn't move his hands. And it's the kind that doesn't move an inch no matter how hard he tries. Instantly, cold sweat broke out on his forehead. What's going on? At the same time, a faint voice came from behind Luffy. Buggy the Clown, as a former trainee crew member on the One Piece ship, it might not be a good idea to attack from behind, right? Xia Chen walked up from behind Luffy as he spoke, holding Buggy's hand. Ah! Xia Chen, you broke his hand. Luffy's eyes widened and he said in horror. You idiot! He is a person who ate the split devil fruit and can split his body freely. Who are you? Buggy looked at Xia Chen with a gloomy face. He was not shocked that Xia Chen recognized his ability to disintegrate, because many people in the East China Sea knew about it. But there is such a thing as One Piece trainee crew. Not to mention the East China Sea, even the Great Channel, very few people in the New World know about it. So it was still strange for someone like Xia Chen, who looked so young, to know about this. Could it be that some elders in his family know him? Thinking of this, Buggy couldn't help but get chills on his back. None of the older people who know his identity are easy to mess with. While Buggy was still brainstorming in his mind, Xia Chen said, Me. I am the vice captain of the Straw Hat Pirates and the future vice captain of One Piece. As he spoke, Xia Chen let go of Buggy's hand, and then slowly put it back into Buggy's hand. The Straw Hat Pirates? Why haven't I heard of it? Buggy asked in confusion. Here. In front of you are all the members of the Straw Hat Pirates. Hey! This is the idiot captain. Xia Chen pointed at Luffy. Then he pointed at Zoro and said, This is the third-rate swordsman on the ship. After hearing Xia Chen's words, several veins popped up on Zoro's forehead at a speed visible to the naked eye. When he becomes stronger in the future, the first person to be killed will be the BD Xia Chen. Must. Finally, it's me, the wise and mighty vice captain. Why, Xia Chen, why am I a fool and you are so wise and powerful? Luffy yelled dissatisfied. Isn't this something that is right in front of you? Xia Chen shrugged and replied calmly. Just when Luffy was still about to argue, Buggy over there suddenly burst into laughter. Gah ha ha ha. I thought it was some big pirate group. I didn't expect it to be a small Yakuza pirate group that I have never heard of. After laughing, Buggy looked at Luffy and said, Boy, do you want to be One Piece? Go back and wash up. One Piece is not something that third-rate pirates like you can get your hands on. Pfft. Before Buggy could finish his words, he was slapped hard on the stomach. His eyes almost bulged out, and then he flew out like a cannonball and hit the wall behind him heavily. And at the place where Buggy was originally standing, Xia Chen slowly lowered his foot that was maintaining an attacking posture. Test successful. Buggy is just a rookie, he really only has this little strength. Compared to his gay red-haired friend, he is really far behind. B.A. Master Buggy was beaten away. A group of pirates nearby shouted in shock. How is it possible? Master Buggy is so powerful, he will definitely not be defeated so easily. One of the pirate sidekicks yelled. Hey! Xia Chen looked at them and said with evil eyes, You are very annoying. In an instant, the group of pirates all shrank back. That speed, it is no exaggeration to say, has almost caught up with Xia Chen's speed when shaving. Then, they all shrank their heads like quails, for fear that Xia Chen would notice them. Seeing this scene, Xia Chen didn't say anything else, but couldn't help but think in his heart, I don't know when I will be able to activate Conqueror's Haki. Then I will clear out the miscellaneous soldiers soon. Ahem. Buggy slowly got up from the ground and coughed a few times. The eyes that looked at Xia Chen were solemn, but less fearful. I thought you were very strong. I didn't expect that this kick was only as strong as this. Then don't blame me for leaving you all here today. He is not afraid of the people behind Xia Chen. The sea is so vast. If he killed Xia Chen here today, who would know? You know, dead people can't talk. Chapter 12. Xia Chen? No way? No way? Wouldn't anyone really regard the power that he had not used even a tenth of as his full strength? Seeing Buggy's demeanor, Xia Chen really wanted to educate him. But after thinking about it for a while, I decided to forget it. If Buggy is also taken care of, Luffy and the others won't have any experience monsters to deal with later. So Xia Chen retreated slightly behind Luffy and Zoro. Idiot Captain, third-rate swordsman, enter. Let him see the strength of our Straw Hat Pirates. Luffy, Zoro. Although both of them were a little speechless, after spending this time together, they both understood what kind of person Xia Chen was. When you are not strong enough, just be patient. When you are strong enough. Haha. Then don't blame them for being ruthless. Luffy turned to Zoro and said, Zoro, you don't have to do it. Leave this red nose to me and let me beat him away. I don't plan to go either. Zoro curled his lips disdainfully. In his opinion, Buggy is not the kind of enemy that requires the two of them to work together to deal with it, so Luffy can just leave it to him alone. Luffy nodded, looked at Buggy and smiled, Red Nose, let me beat you away. Gomo Gomo. With that said, Luffy started using his classic charging rubber pistol again. At this time, Buggy on the other side was furious. Damn you Straw Hat Boy, you dare to keep calling him Red Nose, you really have a plan for death. And that annoying Straw Hat, it's annoying to look at. Just when Buggy was about to use his moves to attack Luffy, a fist suddenly enlarged on his face. Bang! Hit the target. Buggy spun backwards for a few times before stopping and lying peacefully on the ground. A few seconds later, his body was shocked and a carp jumped up. The expression on his face was a bit confused. There is also a red fist mark, which looks more suitable with the red nose. Just now, that was stretched arms. Oh, I am a rubber man who ate the rubber fruit. I can extend my arms. Luffy answered enthusiastically after hearing Buggy's words. But then, a violent shock that didn't know where it came from hit Luffy on the head. Boom! Are you stupid? Telling others about your abilities? Zoro yelled at Luffy. Luffy, on the other hand, squatted on the ground and pursed his lips in frustration. What's this? He's seen it all. Okay, Zoro doesn't want to say anything anymore. There is nothing you can do about the clamp that cannot be held up. Are you also a devil fruit user? You eat things that even dogs won't eat. Buggy said with disdain. In an instant, Xia Chen and the three of them all had black question marks on their faces. Then Luffy came with a soul torture. Then why do you eat it too? Are you a dog? I was an accident. Do you understand an accident? If it weren't for that damn red-haired BD, how could I have become a landlubber? Speaking of which, that BD also has the same straw hat as you, so I hate you now too. Red hair. Luffy was very surprised when he heard this and asked Buggy directly, are you talking about Shanks? He gave me this hat. Hey. Buggy was a little surprised when he heard this. Unexpectedly, this straw hat actually belonged to the person he hated the most. Damn it, the old and new grudges combined together are unforgivable. Instantly, Buggy's anger surged up. Split into pieces, clown throwing knives. Without saying a word, Buggy's hand split open, holding a throwing knife and heading straight towards Luffy's hat. He's going to stab this damn straw hat through. Luffy's face turned green with fright when he saw the flying knife coming towards his hat, and he instantly squatted down on the spot at an extremely fast speed. After standing up, he shouted to Buggy, what are you doing? Don't you know this is my most cherished hat? What you value most? Beat what you value most. As he spoke, the hand that was already behind Luffy changed its direction and then stabbed towards Luffy. Clang! The flying knife stabbed straight into Zoro's knife. Zoro looked at Buggy and said calmly, didn't you hear my captain say that this is his most cherished hat? Are you so ignorant? Buggy's hand slowly flew back and then connected to his arm, looking at the three people opposite him with a somewhat ugly expression. 1 against 3, the disadvantage is mine. As a person who is very aware of current affairs, Buggy has always adhered to, someone else is weaker than me? FK him. Better than me? Sorry, the wind is blowing. So Buggy now had the idea of retreating. Just when he was thinking about how to run away to appear more domineering, a voice came from behind. Captain Buggy, we're here to help you. Buggy looked back and saw a wild man riding a huge lion and a young man with slanted bangs riding wheels heading towards him. Buggy's face immediately showed joy. Machi, Kabeji. It's great that you are here. Come and join me in killing these 3 guys on the other side. Run away? Impossible. 3 against 3, I have the advantage. Uncle Buggy is so confident. At this time, the eyes of Luffy and the other 3 were also attracted by the 2 people who had just arrived. Among them, Luffy's eyes fell on the lion under Machi's crotch. What a big lion! Such a plump body looks delicious. Instantly, Lion Liji felt an inexplicable chill in his body, always feeling that something bad was about to happen. Zoro's eyes fell on the acrobat Kabeji, looked at the knife in his hand, and murmured, Swordsman? Interesting. Xia Chen's eyes were also on Kabeji at the same time, more specifically on his side bangs. It's not a perfect score? Bad review. Then Xia Chen and the other two exchanged glances and instantly found their opponents. Luffy attacked Buggy, and Zoro also rushed towards Kabeji. Xia Chen stood in front of the lion. Looking at such a huge lion, Xia Chen couldn't help but have the same idea as Luffy. Yo! This lion looks delicious. You actually want to eat my niche? Machi was furious when he heard this. Then he directed the lion beneath him and said, Li Ji, shoot this ignorant human being to death. The huge claw smacked down towards Xia Chen, but Xia Chen didn't even blink. Just when he was about to be photographed, Xia Chen narrowed his eyes and disappeared instantly. But Makai didn't know about this. He thought that Xia Chen, a human who made such nonsense, had been shot to death, so he laughed and said, What the hell? It turns out you're just a rookie. I thought you were so awesome. Just when he was happy, a faint voice came from behind him. What makes you so happy? Say it and make me happy too. Chapter 13. In an instant, Machi broke out in cold sweat. Stiffly, he slowly turned his head. Looking at Xia Chen with a smile on his face, he felt a little scared. When did this man come up? If he were to attack him secretly at this time, wouldn't he? You know, he is a beast master. To put it nicely, this thing is capable of communicating with and controlling animals, and has great strength. To put it mildly, it is a waste that can do nothing without animals. If he does this, then he has to. Brother, I just smiled because I thought of happy things. Oh, what's the happy thing? Xia Chen asked with a half smile. My Li Ji has given birth to a lion cub. Machi replied seriously. That's right. Xia Chen nodded. But, isn't it a male? It reproduces asexually, and males can also give birth. Machi continued. Looking at his serious look, Xia Chen almost believed it. It seems that these pirates are pretty good at telling lies. Almost catching up with him. However, Xia Chen did not continue to say anything, but said, Now, I want to watch their battle from the back of your lion. The view is better here. Is there any problem? No problem, no problem. Machi answered hastily, and even said flatteringly, Would you like to make the niche jump a little to make your sitting more rhythmic? Don't tell me, your idea is a good one. After saying that, Xia Chen patted the lion under him and said, Come on, do a crab dance to cheer me up. Houg! It only took a second for the lion beneath him to change from the roar it made when it first heard Xia Chen's order to its current whine. Looking at leaky Machi lying on the ground, his eyes were filled with distress, but he did not dare to say anything. God knows what he just saw. The man in front of him just flicked his fingers, causing Li Ji's whole body to fall to the ground. He could clearly feel Li Ji's fear from the information Li Ji conveyed to him. You said you had to be beaten to improve your memory. It's true. Okay, now hurry up and dance the crab dance for me. You, go and command it to dance. Xia Chen pointed at Makai and said. Yes. I'll do it right away. Makai responded immediately, but he didn't make any move after a while. Hey? What do you mean? What I said won't work, right? Xia Chen looked at Mochi with a cold look in his eyes. No, no, brother, absolutely not. Machi shook his head crazily and waved his hands. It's just, how do you do this crab dance? After a while, Luffy and Buggy were fighting fiercely. Zoro and Kabeji are also fighting. As for Xia Chen, a lion jumped left and right, swinging back and forth, with sweat dripping from its face. But it didn't dare to stop, otherwise the fierce spirit in it would not be easy to talk to. But isn't it a bit inappropriate to let a lion imitate a crab? Xia Chen was actually happy at the moment, rocking out while scolding Fang Chu and giving directions. Luffy, attack him. Zoro, please zoom in. Why are you hiding there all the time? Shut up. Luffy and Zoro shouted at the same time. But Xia Chen just curled his lips in disdain. Still continue to be there. Just kidding, when did two bugs dare to order him to do things? After listening, Luffy and Zoro ignored Xia Chen's chirping voice next to them. Habit becomes natural. At this time, Luffy and Buggy were fighting back and forth, and Buggy even had a slight upper hand. On the contrary, the situation on Zoro's side is getting clearer and clearer. With Zoro exerting all his strength, acrobat Kabeji is already beyond his capabilities. After once again slashing away Kabeji's knife, Zoro slowed down and made a starting position for a move. I want to become the strongest swordsman in the world. You can be my stepping stone to becoming the strongest swordsman in the world. Ghost Slayer. In an instant, Zoro seemed to transform into a ghost and appeared behind Kabeji in the blink of an eye. After a second or two, blood began to spurt out from Kabeji's chest. At the same time, several wounds that penetrated deep into the bone marrow slowly emerged. How could I lose? After leaving a sentence, this first experience pack on Zoro's road ended his scene. It's just that he is still a bit weak compared to Zoro, and he can't play much role in training Zoro at all. As soon as Zoro inserted the knife in his hand into the handle, Xia Chen's voice came over. Hey Zoro! Come up and experience the feeling of movement. TCH, do you think I will be like you? Zoro looked disdainful. Luffy, slap him in the face. What are you doing? Zoro shouted loudly while sitting on the lion's head. Don't tell me, this shake is really exciting. Luffy immediately became unbalanced when he saw this situation. He pouted and said unhappily, why can you all sit on the lion's rock? I'm the only one who has to fight with this red nose. Then Luffy looked at Buggy and said, Red Nose, I'm going to beat you away quickly. I'm going to sit on a lion too. Buggy's face looked as ugly as if he had eaten a lump. He just thought that these two helpers could help him. How long has it been since then? One was licking her and calling her boss, while the other was lying there comfortably basking in the sun. Suddenly it became a 1 versus 3 disadvantage, which was somewhat abstract. But it's not hopeless now. The two people over there don't seem to have any intention of joining the battle. In this case, he will have a chance. The only reason to blame is that they were too confident and gave him the opportunity to defeat them one by one. Buggy then focused his eyes, split his lower body, and then let the lower body fly out like a pancake. At the same time, the bayonet popped out from the toes of the lower body, spinning continuously towards Luffy to attack. Split into pieces. Pancakes. Luffy was shocked when he saw this situation and jumped up. At the same time, Luffy's straw hat also bounced up. Seeing this scene, Buggy narrowed his eyes, split his hand instantly, and stabbed Luffy's straw hat with a flying knife. Stab it! The flying knife penetrated Luffy's hat directly. My straw hat! Luffy shouted, with fear in his eyes. UBD! Luffy looked at his straw hat with a hole in it and shouted angrily at Buggy. Gahahaha! Shanks' straw hat is as annoying as him and should not exist in this world. Gahahaha! Bang! Luffy's fist hit the laughing Buggy directly in the face. Knocked him away. I won't allow you to say that, Shanks. Chapter 14. Luffy looked at the hat with a hole in his hand distressedly, and then turned to Buggy. Both arms are stretched back. Damn it, UBD. As soon as Buggy got up from the ground, he heard a bazooka sound. At the same time, two palms hit him hard on the chest. In an instant, a powerful force burst out, and he felt as if he had been hit by a pirate ship, and then flew into the sky. Xia Chen raised his eyebrows when he saw this scene. Okay, Luffy, I can take care of Buggy this time without anyone else's help. However, Luffy was still in a very low mood at this time. He stared blankly at the straw hat in his hand, not even interested in sitting on a lion anymore. Luffy, stop showing off your bitter face and ask Nami to patch up your straw hat for you. Xia Chen, are you telling the truth? Nami can mend straw hats. Of course, don't underestimate our navigator, she is very versatile. But she went to find the treasure after coming up just now, so she may have to wait. Xia Chen said with a faint smile. That's great. After saying that, Luffy also jumped up, and then shook vigorously on the lion's back. Then, after Nami sneakily moved the treasure, he came up and saw this magical scene. A lion was dancing a strange dance, and 4 people were sitting on it, 3 of whom he knew, and the other one stood aside with as much fear as a quail. Seeing this situation, Nami couldn't help but asked blankly, where's Buggy the clown? I knocked him away. Luffy said happily. I was beaten away by you. Nami's eyes widened, that was a big pirate with a bounty of 15 million berries. 15 million is fine, but does the 20 million evil dragon also? At this moment, many thoughts flashed through Nami's mind, but in the end they were not spoken out. Okay, now that the goal has been achieved, let's set off. Xia Chen slowly stood up from the lion's back. By the way, Nami, does Buggy have a map of the East China Sea? Hey? How do you know? Secret. Xia Chen showed a meaningful smile. Hearing that he was about to leave, Luffy on the side curled his lips unhappily and said, "What, I haven't had enough fun yet. The villagers in this town are not here now. When we get tired from playing, we won't even have a place to eat. We have to rely on ourselves. And I don't have much meat left in the space now. If I don't go to the next island to replenish it, there won't be enough for us to eat later." Xia Chen looked at Luffy and said calmly. After hearing this, Luffy stopped instantly, and then said to Xia Chen seriously, "Then let's go quickly." Seeing how quickly Luffy changed his face, Xia Chen couldn't help but marvel. It seems that when it comes to meat, Luffy is still very easy to understand. "By the way, Nami, my straw hat is punctured, can you help me fix it?" "Hey!" Nami was startled when he heard Luffy's words, then nodded and said, "Can. Really? Thank you so much." Luffy said excitedly as he grabbed Nami's hand. "Hey, don't grab it so hard, it will hurt." "Oh, sorry." After some time Buggy the Clown's pirate ship. A huge roar came. "What? You left a bag of treasure to the villagers on the island?" Nami said, grabbing Luffy's collar and shaking him hard. "That's right. Bailey needs to repair the destroyed buildings on the island, right? It's okay to leave a bag of treasure to them." Luffy explained. "What do you mean it's nothing? That's my treasure. It's the treasure I worked so hard to bring to my aid, do you know?" Nami said while shaking Luffy's head vigorously back and forth into the water. Then you go find, they are coming back." Luffy said inarticulately. "How can you do something like that, UBD? Ha ha ha." Looking at this scene, Xia Chen and Zoro couldn't help laughing. Sure enough, as Xia Chen had guessed before, becoming a member of the Straw Hats is indeed very interesting. Looking forward to the days to come. A few days later Xia Chen and others finally saw a new island, which made them happy. Especially Luffy, looking at the island at this time, even the laughter was flowing out. He kept mumbling, "Meat, meat, meat." Xia Chen had finished eating the meat in his space 2 days ago, and he had been eating fruit for the past 2 days to satisfy his hunger. They almost faded into obscurity, even Xia Chen felt the same way. This also solidified an idea for him. You will need to prepare more meat in the system space in the future, otherwise there will really not be enough to eat. After a while, the boat slowly docked. The group of people jumped down immediately, and Luffy ran around excitedly, still talking about meat. Zoro stepped on the ground and let out a sigh. "It's been a long time since I've been on land." Nami just took out a chart and observed it. As for Xia Chen, his attention at the moment was focused on the system sound he just heard. Ding! Successfully defeated Kasi Rob Village and obtained Conqueror's Haki, Elementary. It really comes to mind. I was thinking why I didn't check out Conqueror's Haki before, but I didn't expect that the next island would appear. Okay, Xia Chen is very satisfied with the nature of the system. In this way, he has all 3 colors of domineering, and he can just wait and improve slowly in the future. Now he should be considered a little master no matter what. Just as Xia Chen was thinking, a roar came from the distant hills, causing his eyes to turn involuntarily. "Hey! You pirates, how dare you come to the village ruled by Captain Usopp? Don't you know that one of my 80 million men can drown you all with just a drop of spit?" At the same time, countless flags began to be erected in the grass on the mountain, which looked really impressive. Seeing that Xia Chen and the others were a little confused, Usopp thought they had been fooled by him, so he continued, "But I am a kind pirate. If you are willing to retreat immediately, I can show mercy and let you go." After saying that, Usopp looked at Xia Chen and others quietly, full of momentum, but the sweat on his forehead proved that he might be a little weak at the moment. Xia Chen couldn't help but want to laugh when he saw this scene. He is truly worthy of the boastful King Usopp. It's just that, you have to brag a little more convincingly. 80 million subordinates, why don't you go to heaven? It seems like we need to teach Usopp how to brag, let him know what it means to be different from others, and to be different from others. Thinking of this, Xia Chen showed a smile on his lips and said to Usopp. Chapter 15. You actually have 80 million subordinates? Are you so powerful? Xia Chen showed an expression of surprise. Nami next to her couldn't help but turned her head and looked at him in confusion when she heard Xia Chen's words. Do you actually believe what sounds like bragging? But when she saw the trace of playfulness on the corner of Xia Chen's mouth, she vaguely felt that she might have some fun watching it. Xia Chen continued, Hello, my name is Gold Xia Chen, and I am the nephew of One Piece Gold Roger. However, I don't have as many subordinates as you, probably only tens of thousands of people. Of course, this is nothing compared to the number of your subordinates, Captain Usopp, but there are some very powerful people among my subordinates. There are quite a few with bounties exceeding 1 billion. At this point, Xia Chen paused, and then said to Usopp with a teasing tone, By the way, I would like to ask Captain Usopp how many of your 80 million subordinates have a bounty of more than 1 billion. There must be a lot, right? 1 billion, 1 billion. Usopp didn't hear what Xia Chen said at all, and all that echoed in his mind was the word 1 billion. In an instant, cold sweat wetted his back, while the sweat on his forehead was dripping continuously, and his legs and feet were shaking unconsciously. Liar, liar, right. How can someone with a bounty of 1 billion exist? Usopp said tremblingly. In fact, he also thought about whether Xia Chen was lying to him, but he suddenly thought that One Piece Roger was indeed from Donghai. Maybe Xia Chen really might be his nephew. At this moment, Xia Chen, who clearly had no resemblance to Roger, felt inexplicably in Usopp's eyes that they really looked similar. Then his subordinates. Isn't it very possible that there are partisans of One Piece? Thinking of this, Usopp felt bad. He is just here to brag, don't give him such a heavyweight thing. I wonder if he has a disease that causes myocardial infarction when he hears One Piece? Sikui, Xia Chen, you are actually One Piece's nephew? Why haven't I heard you tell me before? Luffy looked at Xia Chen with bright eyes. His eyes were filled with excitement. Idiot, you know it's a lie right now, right? Zoro looked at Luffy and said with disdain. After spending this period of time together, he has completely understood what kind of bird Xia Chen is. In Zoro's opinion, Xia Chen is very mysterious and always knows things that he has never heard of before. The strength is also very strong, and of course, the ability to deceive people is also very good. Just by looking at this situation, you can tell that Xia Chen is bragging. His sword can see this problem. Only an idiot like Luffy would believe it so easily. Hey, Zoro, don't talk nonsense. I admit, my name is not Gold Xia Chen, but the fact that I am One Piece Roger's nephew is an ironclad fact, okay? Xia Chen looked at Zoro and said dissatisfied. Ace is Roger's son, and Luffy is Ace's younger brother, so Luffy is Roger's nephew, right? And he is Luffy's vice captain, which can also be said to be his brother, so he is also Ace's brother. Therefore, we can get, the inference is established. So, he is Roger's nephew. There is nothing wrong with him. Even if Roger himself is here today, he can't deny that he is his nephew. You are Roger's nephew. Nami next to her looked at Xia Chen with a pale face, her eyes full of shock. A random ship she boarded had One Piece's nephew? What kind of dream plot is this? Zoro was no longer confident when he saw Xia Chen looking so confident. Did he really not brag? Usopp in the distance became even more panicked after hearing these words. He sat down directly on the ground. It seems there is no need to run away, that man is really Roger's nephew. It's over. How could he stop such a vicious pirate? But after thinking for a few breaths, Usopp's eyes gradually became firm. Even though he knew that there were terrible pirates on the other side, he was still scared to death. But no matter what, he can't let these people destroy the village he cherishes. Unless you step over his body first. Thinking of this, Usopp gradually stood up. Although his legs were still shaking, his eyes were firmer than ever. He opened his slingshot and shouted at Xia Chen and others, "My slingshot is more powerful than bullets. If you don't want to die here, then retreat quickly." After hearing this, the smiles on the faces of Xia Chen and the other three people slowly disappeared, and then they all looked at Usopp on the cliff. Luffy pressed the straw hat on his head and said calmly, "Now that you have decided to fight, you must be determined to die." Luffy's voice kept echoing in Usopp's ears, repeatedly destroying the psychological defense he had just established. After a long while, Usopp finally couldn't hold on anymore, the slingshot in his hand fell to the ground, and he fell to the ground again. There was already a layer of cold sweat on his forehead, and he said helplessly, is this a real pirate? To put it bluntly, it's extraordinary. Ptahaha. Seeing Usopp like this, Xia Chen and the others couldn't help laughing. Luffy said, this is what I heard from a pirate I respect, not what I said myself. By the way, is your name Usopp? Hey. Usopp was stunned for a moment and asked blankly, you know me? So we know each other. Your father talks about you in front of me every day. Luffy said with a faint smile. My dad? Do you know my dad? Usopp stood up in surprise, looked at Luffy and asked. If your father is Jesus Bulletin, then I know him right. Yes, my father is Jesus Bulletin. How did you know him? Can you tell me? Okay, but I have to eat some meat first. In a tavern in Windmill Village. So, my dad was on red-haired Shank's ship. Yes. If nothing else, he should still be here now. According to what I know about Jesus Bulletin, he is a brave pirate. Luffy said as he ate the meat. Hearing Luffy praise his father, Usopp's mouth burst into laughter. Of course, my dad is the bravest. I admire my dad's courageous spirit of throwing himself into the sea the most. Ha ha ha. Me too. Luffy laughed. With Jesus Bulletin's relationship, Usopp quickly became involved with Xia Chen and others. It looked like they were friends who had known each other for many years. Chapter 16. After a while, Nami said, the purpose of our coming to this island is to find a partner who can sail a boat and to see if we can get a bigger boat. After hearing this, Usopp was silent for a moment, then looked out the window and said, as you can see, this is just a small village, and it is impossible to get the things you mentioned. Hey? Really? But I see there is a big manor on the hill. Zoro said doubtfully. That won't work. Usopp shook his head vigorously, then turned to Xia Chen and others and said, well, I suddenly remembered something important, so I left first. After saying that, Usopp hurried outside. What is he doing? Luffy raised his head in confusion. Who knows? Maybe I want to brag. Xia Chen said lightly after taking a sip of wine. Of course he knew what Usopp was going to do when he left at this time, it was just to tell stories to Kaya. Ever since Kaya's parents passed away, it was Usopp telling him stories every day that kept her from becoming weak. Therefore, telling stories to Kaya has become one of the things Usopp does every day. And if nothing unexpected happens, they will have to take a look at the situation later. Thinking of this, Xia Chen's eyes showed a look of interest. Hakushi Kuro, this is one of the highly intelligent pirates in One Piece that Mr. Oda personally admitted. It's just a pity that, the strength is a bit weak. Just when Xia Chen was still thinking, a loud noise came from beside him, which attracted his attention. He saw 3 children who were less than half his height staring at them. Although their legs and feet were shaking, they still questioned them, what did you do to Captain Usopp? I'm so full. Luffy said happily, rubbing his belly. And this gesture of touching the belly and this comfortable sigh instantly made the 3 little ones next to him think of something bad. He asked tremblingly, you won't? Gg. Xia Chen and Zoro both laughed evilly, then looked at them with a scary look and said, your captain was eaten by us. They screamed in horror instantly, but they didn't dare to say anything when they saw Zoro and Xia Chen's terrifying looks. Finally, I found Nami who looked kinder next to me and said, Tigress. What are you talking about when you look at me? It turned out to be a lie. We were scared to death. We thought Captain Usopp was really eaten by you. The 3 of them wiped the sweat from their foreheads and said with lingering fear. He just ran out in a hurry in the middle of his meal. Do you know where he went? Zoro asked, looking at the 3 of them. I know, at this time, Captain Usopp should be. You guys come with us. After saying that, the 3 of them ran outside. Looking at this scene, Xia Chen felt a little helpless. Is it because he has been with Usopp for a long time? Why are everyone so impatient? But they didn't say anything more, and just followed the 3 of them walking in a certain direction. After some time the group of people came to the wall of the manor on the hill. Onionhead among the 3 pointed inside and said, Captain Usopp should be inside now. Is it in there? Okay. Luffy moved his arms, then ran to the front of the fence, grabbed the top of the railing with both hands, and hung himself up. Zoro and Nami were shocked when they saw this scene. Hey, you don't mean to. Before they finished speaking, the 2 of them ran over to hold Luffy down instantly, and then the three little ones next to them saw this and rushed over to help hold him down. Mom and Dad said that when you don't know what to do, just watch what the people around you do and do it yourself. Then, the 6 people just flew into the sky. At this moment, the 3 of them had only one idea in their minds. Perhaps what Mom and Dad say sometimes may not be right. Xia Chen looked at the 6 people flying happily in the sky and couldn't help but shook his head. The fence is obviously so short, why do we have to climb over it in this way? I don't understand. Xia Chen jumped in with a slight leap. After standing firm on the spot, he exuded a domineering aura, and after sensing his familiar aura, he slowly walked in that direction. A few minutes later, when Xia Chen arrived at his destination, he just happened to see Usopp punch Crow in the face. Oh, no, it should be called Crab-Eater. After Crab-Eater fell to the ground, he continued to insult Jesus Bulletin, which made Usopp want to punch him again. At the critical moment, it was Kaya who called out to Usopp. Before Crab-Eater was exposed, Kaya was very trusting and grateful to him. But Usopp is also her very good friend, and she doesn't want to see a conflict between the two. In the end, with Kaya's intervention, Usopp finally did not attack him, but walked towards the back silently. Crab-Eater saw that Usopp had already left, and said to Luffy and others, "Please get out immediately." Xia Chen was upset when he heard this. Damn it, Lao Zi just came over. I haven't even watched the excitement for a minute. You want me to leave now? And he felt a little uncomfortable with Crow, which was the most important thing. As for him, anyone who gets upset will be punished on the spot, unless the opponent is stronger than him. A powerful force of pressure emanated from Xia Chen, crushing towards Crow. For an instant, Crow felt as if his spirit had been hit by a sledgehammer, and then his head became dizzy and he lost consciousness. Collapsed to the ground. There was no surprise that his conqueror's haki could stun Xia Chen. It would be strange if he couldn't be stunned. He is not a parallel import. And Crow is just a pirate with a bounty of 16 million. This kind of strength may be able to dominate one side in the East China Sea, but in the New World it is at the level of a mere soldier. At this stage, even Luffy and Zoro cannot resist Xia Chen's conqueror's dominance. After all, the two of them and Crow are the same now, they are all miscellaneous soldiers. Seeing Crow falling to the ground, Kaya hurriedly shouted, "Someone come quickly, Butler Crabapple has fainted." Looking at the increasingly noisy manner, Xia Chen didn't say anything, but said to Luffy and others, "We've finished watching the excitement, let's go." Chapter 17. Walking on the path in the village, Zoro looked at Xia Chen next to him with questioning eyes. Was it you who caused the housekeeper to faint?" "It's not me, don't talk nonsense, how could it be possible?" Xia Chen answered quickly with 3 clicks in a row. "He must have fainted due to anemia. How can I have the strength to make him faint without even touching him?" Xia Chen looked at Zoro with an expression like "I don't know anything, it's definitely not my fault." Seeing Xia Chen's expression, Zoro became even more suspicious. "I always feel like it's Xia Chen's fault. Let's not talk about how the housekeeper could be anemic if he looks very energetic. Just your words of hastily denying yourself are worthy of suspicion. But this is really just his guess, there is no substantial evidence, he just simply thinks Xia Chen is a bit suspicious." Xia Chen ignored Zoro's eyes, turned to Luffy and the others and said, "I have something to do, so I'll separate from you first." "What? Xia Chen, do you want to go and play secretly without me?" Luffy curled his lips and asked. When Xia Chen heard this, his head was full of black lines. He said angrily, "Can you have anything else on your mind besides playing and eating? So what are you going to do?" Nami interrupted and asked. "Secret." Xia Chen smiled, and then disappeared instantly. "Weird, monster." The 3 little ones were so frightened that they collapsed to the ground when they saw this scene. Although they say they are not very big, they have never seen people disappear in an instant like this. "Hey, relying on your own strength, you always do this mysterious thing," Zoro said disdainfully from the side. "But why do you feel there is a sour smell in the air?" After some time Xia Chen came to a coast of the island. At this time, a pirate ship was parked here, and Xia Chen could hear the shouts coming from the ship while standing on the top of a hill several hundred meters away. "That's right, this pirate ship is exactly the one Crow had before, and he has only one purpose in coming here. I've been a little out of rice in my pocket lately." During this period of time, he paid for the food, clothing, housing, and transportation of the entire group of people out of his own pocket. The little money he got from Arita was about to be exhausted. Later, all the treasures from Menka and Buggy were given to Nami. Although he said he could ask Nami if he had no money, he was not a man who liked to apply every time. Berry is something that men should master themselves. Xia Chen narrowed his eyes slightly, kicked off his feet, and galloped out in an instant. When he reached the sky above the ship, Xia Chen did not hesitate and fell directly downwards. Landed steadily on the deck. The sudden sound made all the pirates turn their eyes unconsciously. Seeing an unknown person appear on the ship for no apparent reason, they were stunned for a few seconds at first, but not long after, a pirate shouted, "Who are you and why are you on our ship?" While talking, he walked towards Xia Chen. "I'm a little tight lately, so I'd like to ask you to help me," Xia Chen said calmly. He looked around and saw that Zhang Jiao was not here. The people on this ship were all minions whose names he had never heard of. The surrounding pirates were stunned when they heard Xia Chen's words. If they understood correctly, this kid was robbing. This experience can't help but make them feel a little novel. They have always been the only ones to rob others, and they have never been robbed by others. It's the first time for a big girl to get on the sedan chair. Ha ha ha. Boy, do you know where this place is? Do you know who we are? A pirate looked at Xia Chen and smiled ferociously. Let Lao Zi tell you with great mercy, this is the ship of the Black Cat Pirates, and we are the pirates of the Black Cat Pirates. You dare to come and rob our ship, you are very brave. If this ship is full of people like you, wouldn't it be normal for me to rob it? Hey! After hearing this, the pirate immediately became angry, looked at Xia Chen and said ferociously, I hope you can still be so arrogant when Lao Zi twists your head off. After saying that, he waved his fist and rushed towards Xia Chen. Looking at the fist that was getting closer and closer, Xia Chen didn't react at all. It wasn't until the fist was about to hit him that Xia Chen raised his hand slightly. Whoosh! A black shadow flashed. The pirate who was standing in front of Xia Chen just now had flown into the sky, and then fell into the sea with a thud. Seeing this scene, the surrounding pirates instantly took a few steps back, perfectly interpreting what a deep friendship is. They didn't even see how Xia Chen took action just now. Before they could react, their companion was already flying in the sky. Thinking with your feet, you can tell that Xia Chen is much better than them. As a pirate, they understand one thing very well. That is, those who understand current affairs are heroes. When you encounter an enemy that you can't defeat, don't attack him forcefully, otherwise will you simply go up and get beaten in vain. Hello! Xia Chen suddenly shouted at them, which scared them all. Where are the treasures on your ship? Take me there. After hearing Xia Chen's words, a group of pirates looked at each other. You looked at me, I looked at you, but no one came out to take Xia Chen there. Helpless, Xia Chen pointed directly at one of the pirates and said, take me there. Ah? Me? The pirate shook his head everywhere, wanting to see if Xia Chen was referring to someone else. He didn't want to take Xia Chen there. That's right, it's you. Stop whining and take me there quickly, or I'll throw you into the sea to feed the fish later. Seeing that Xia Chen was indeed talking about himself, the pirate had no choice but to walk out and prepare to take Xia Chen to the place where the treasure was kept. Hey? Since when has the treasure of our Black Cat Pirates become something that outsiders can covet? As soon as Xia Chen took a step or two people jumped out from somewhere in the boat and landed behind Xia Chen. Xia Chen turned his head and looked at the pair of fat and thin fairy boys, and ancient memories began to appear in his mind. Then he asked uncertainly, are you, cat people brothers? Yes, I'm Sam. I'm Butch. Since you know our brother's name, you still dare to come here. You really don't know what to do. Pfft. Before they finished speaking, the two figures flew out instantly and flew directly from the boat to the island. Xia Chen waved his hand and said disdainfully, why does the supporting actor add so many scenes to himself? Then he turned to look at the pirate from before. Let's go, keep taking me. Yes. The pirate shouted extremely loudly, with a trembling voice. Fortunately, he didn't seek death just now, otherwise he might end up like the Catman brothers now. Even people stronger than him like the Catman brothers were eliminated instantly, let alone him. Why are you shouting so loudly? Are you afraid that I can't hear you? Xia Chen's eyes widened, and he immediately shrank his neck. Then he said nothing and honestly led the way. Chapter 18. When he came to the place where the treasure was placed, Xia Chen also asked the pirate to go out and stayed here alone. With a wave of his hand, the treasure on the ground disappeared. However, the Black Cat pirates are a bit poor. The treasures probably only amount to a few million berries, not even 10 million. But no matter how small a mosquito's legs are, they are still meat. Isn't treasure just something that is saved bit by bit? After Xia Chen collected the treasure, he planned to leave here. However, just as he was about to go out, a dim light appeared in his sight. This scene caught his attention. Xia Chen came to the place where the dim light was emitting and found that the light was emitted by a long yellow object. This made Xia Chen a little curious and couldn't help but pick it up and take a look. Cough. Ahem. Xia Chen coughed hard several times. Oh my god, that yellow object, it turns out it's gathering dust. One thing to say, it is quite impressive that the dust can accumulate to this extent. According to Xia Chen's estimation, there is a high probability that it will not be possible for several years. Xia Chen covered his nose and shook the things in his hands a few more times. Finally, its original appearance appeared before Xia Chen's eyes. The moment he saw this thing, Xia Chen had a smile on his face. I didn't expect that there would be an unexpected harvest. What Xia Chen saw in his hand was an iron rod about 2 meters long. It was completely black and very heavy. The material is also very good. Xia Chen has read Zoro's Wadao Yuan and found that the quality of this iron rod should be similar to that of this knife. In other words, the hardness of his stick should be no different from Zoro's knife. A weapon equivalent to a sharp sword. This discovery still made Xia Chen a little excited. Unexpectedly, the Black Cat pirates gave him such a surprise. There was a lot of combat experience with stick techniques in the memory of the great sage, but since there were no stick-type weapons, those experiences were pretty much useless. He had originally planned to wait until this period of time to go to Rog Town and go to the shops there to see if there were any such weapons. But now, it took no effort to get it, and the material is so good. All I can say is that he was very satisfied. After Xia Chen threw it into the system space, he whistled and walked outside. It's a good day today, the people are so happy. Xia Chen came to the deck, glanced at the pirates on the ship, and disappeared into the sky in a few flashes. At this time, every one of the pirates in the Black Cat Pirates group had their eyes widened, almost popping their eyes out. After a long time, someone stammered and said, why, there are still people who can fly. After some time, hey, Zoro, where's Luffy? Xia Chen suddenly appeared behind Zoro and patted him, instantly frightening him. After reacting, Zoro shouted at Xia Chen at the top of his lungs, I said, you guy, can you please stop showing up so suddenly? Hey? What does this have to do with anything? Xia Chen spread his hands and said indifferently. So where is Luffy? He just went to see Usopp, Nami said from the side. Just when Xia Chen wanted to ask something, a frightened shout came from the distance. The pirates are coming, the pirates are coming. The eyes of Xia Chen and others were attracted, and they saw Usopp running from a distance at this time, with a solemn expression on his face. When passing by Xia Chen and others, Nami didn't even respond to her call, and ran straight into the village. He just said, pirates are coming. Nami asked uncertainly. Yes, he did say that. Xia Chen nodded. Could he be lying? Didn't you say before that he often made jokes in the village? Zoro asked the three little ones next to him. But the expressions of the three of them were very solemn at this time. After a while, Onion Tou said, this time it seems a little different. The captain has a very serious look on his face. We have never seen him like this before. So, it's very possible that the captain didn't lie this time, and the pirates may really be here. Xia Chen said, what is the truth? Let's go and see where Usopp came just now. Ah! When the three children heard this, they immediately shrank back a few meters, hugged each other and looked at Xia Chen and asked tremblingly, if there were really pirates there, wouldn't we all die there? Okay, okay. Xia Chen waved his hand. Then he pointed to Zoro next to him and said, have you seen this green algae-headed brother? He is very strong and he will protect you. A few blue veins popped out on Zoro's forehead to the naked eye. There was a voice in his heart that kept urging him to beat Xia Chen. But in the end, after analyzing the strength gap between the enemy and ourselves, reason prevailed over impulse, and he silently withdrew his hand on the knife. A gentleman's revenge is never too late. When a group of people came to the coast, they did not find any pirates here. The three little ones said in confusion, did the captain lie again just now? I didn't expect that the captain's technology has reached a higher level now, and even we were fooled. Sang Xiao thought he had discovered something, and a gleam of wisdom flashed in his eyes. Suddenly, Nami seemed to have discovered something, pointing to a radish stuck upside down at the foot of the mountain and said, "Do you think that's Luffy?" A few minutes later, a group of people surrounded Luffy one after another. "This big brother, can't be." One of the three little ones said with fear on his face. But then everyone heard the faint sound of snoring. Xia Chen walked straight towards Luffy, then held Luffy's ankle and gently pulled it out. "The carrots are out." But something happened next that shocked everyone. After being pulled out, Luffy was still sleeping even though he was hung upside down in the air by Xia Chen, showing no signs of waking up. Seeing this scene, even Xia Chen's mouth twitched. The monkey family's sleep gene is so powerful that they won't even wake up. In this case, Xia Chen narrowed his eyes, grabbed Luffy's hand and threw it away. Then it hit the rock wall hard. Oh, everyone around looked at this scene in shock, including Zoro and Nami. They all subconsciously took a few steps away. Hey, what do you mean? Luffy is a rubber man. Ordinary blows have no effect on him. You guys are making me feel like I have done something. Seeing that the people around him were still like this, Xia Chen felt a little unhappy. Since he was unhappy, then... Bang bang! Xia Chen, I will chop you to death. Chapter 19. Hey? What are the two of them doing? Luffy asked, looking at the two figures fighting in front of him in a daze. Why did Xia Chen and Zoro start fighting again when he woke up? What else can we do? Let's have a friendly exchange. Nami said calmly from the side. Then he turned to look at Luffy. By the way, why are you sleeping here? Oh, you said this, Usopp and I just saw the butler from before talking to another weird person here. They said something like they wanted to kill all the people in the village tomorrow, and then I was discovered, and then I fell asleep. Asleep? After hearing this, Nami suddenly seemed to think of something. Is the weirdo you mentioned holding an iron ring? Yes. I just fell asleep after looking at his ring. That's it. Nami touched his chin. Then he said, that person is a hypnosis master. You should have fallen asleep directly because of his hypnosis. You'll be found dead. Luffy clapped his hands and showed his original expression. Nami said, in that case, let's go back to the village and have a look now. Then he turned to look at Zoro and Xia Chen, who were still fighting over there, and shouted, let's go, you two. Coming. Xia Chen replied. Then he ran away and appeared next to Nami after shaving a few times. Zoro, on the other hand, was still more than 100 meters away. Zoro gritted his teeth and pulled back the knife. What a BD! After some time, when the group was halfway back to the village, they happened to run into Usopp, who had returned in a state of despair. Everyone looked at Usopp like this and didn't know why, except Xia Chen. Captain, here. Onion looked at Usopp and said. Usopp put away the loneliness on his face, turned to a smiling face and waved to them, it's you. However, when he saw Luffy, he was instantly shocked and ran over to Luffy and asked, aren't you dead? Hey? Luffy was a little confused, but he turned around and realized what he was doing. Yes, I just woke up. Just when Usopp was about to say something else, Carrot Head interrupted, stop talking about this now, we have all heard about it from Brother Straw Hat, hurry up and tell the people in the village about the pirates. Tell, the people in the village. Usopp hesitated for a long time. Then he laughed and said, of course the pirate stuff is fake as usual. It's all because that BD butler is so annoying, that's why I said that to him. Ahahaha. I see, let's just say, how could there be any pirates? The three of them laughed and walked towards the back. Usopp was keenly aware that something was wrong with them, and couldn't help but ask, what are you doing? I suddenly looked down on the captain. Me too. In our opinion, the former captain would never say anything slanderous to others, no matter how much he lied, no matter how annoying the butler was. Hey! It's so boring. Let's go home and eat. The three of them walked back while chatting. Usopp looked at the three people walking away. He stood still for a long time remembering their words, but in the end he didn't say anything. However, the determination in his eyes did not diminish at all, but became stronger. At night, the sky was filled with stars. Xia Chen, the four of them and Usopp were sitting around a bonfire by the sea. Usopp looked at the burning flames with wondering eyes, not knowing what he was thinking. Xia Chen asked, "Is the pirate incident true?" "It must be true, and they will definitely land on the island from here tomorrow. It must be boarded from here." Xia Chen sounded puzzled, and then asked as if pointing, "Is there no other place on the island where you can land on the island similar to this one? If you tell me, there is a similar place in the north. You can also land on the island there. In this case, let's divide our troops into 2 groups. I'll go to the north alone, and the rest of you will stay here." Xia Chen said calmly. "You mean?" Usopp's eyes showed surprise. "Do you still have to ask?" "Of course I will protect this island with you," Luffy said matter-of-factly. In an instant, looking at the sincere eyes of the people around him, Usopp's tears couldn't stop flowing down like a dam bursting. "Thank you so much, thank you." "Hey, there's no need to thank you. We decided to help you because you were so determined. If you don't have the courage yourself, then we definitely won't meddle in your own business," Xia Chen said lightly. "That's right." Zoro also echoed, then he changed the subject and looked at Xia Chen and said, "I can go to the north alone, you guys are here." "Hey." After hearing this, Xia Chen glanced at Zoro doubtfully. "Third-rate swordsman, I'm afraid you're not a little confident. Let's not talk about the strength of your trash, you are such a crazy person, you can find it as far as the north." Clang! The knife in Zoro's arms was instantly unsheathed, but Xia Chen didn't even look at him. A third-rate swordsman is not worthy of being his enemy. "Zoro, let's do what Xia Chen said. We are here and Xia Chen goes to the north," Nami persuaded from the side. "Indeed, Zoro, just listen to Xia Chen." Luffy also nodded beside him. Compared to Zoro, he still thinks Xia Chen is more reliable. Of course, it's not that he doesn't believe in Zoro's strength, but Zoro's wanderlust attribute is indeed a bit. I won't go into too much detail, just understand it. You guys. Zoro was a little dissatisfied. He just didn't know the way. What's the big deal? Okay, then it's settled. Windmill Village protection plan is officially launched. The next morning, Nami looked at the oil that Usopp found and was amazed. She didn't expect that you could still find this thing. Of course, you don't see who I am? I am the almighty Captain Usopp. It's just that these pirates are a little slow. They haven't appeared at this time. Usopp asked doubtfully, looking at the scorching sun above. Are they joking? Usopp couldn't help but have this idea in his mind, but he rejected it instantly. Judging from the demeanor of the housekeeper he saw yesterday, it didn't look like he was joking at all. So since it's not here, it should be. Usopp ran back directly and said to Luffy and others, they should have landed on the island in the north, let's go help Xia Chen quickly. The moment he finished speaking, he felt a red figure flash past, leaving only a sound. Okay, then I'm going. Seeing Luffy and Usopp walking away, Zoro was about to rush over when he felt someone grabbed him from behind. Then, Nami, UBD, let me go. Zoro lay on the oil-covered ground and yelled at Nami. But Nami ignored him and smiled instead. Yes. After saying that, Nami stepped on Zoro's back and climbed up under Zoro's shocked eyes, and said, thank you. Unfortunately, our rope slipped directly to the bottom of the slope under this foot. Only one word full of anger was left. That woman, I must kill her. Meanwhile, on the northern slope. Chapter 20. A group of pirates are gathering here at this time, all gearing up. We will go in and kill all the villagers in this village later. If this is done, Captain Crow will not treat us badly. And you guys. At this point, the praising words paused, and then roared loudly, behave yourself. Last time when I was away, you lost the treasure on our ship. Tell me, what's the use of you? This is a good opportunity to make amends for our past mistakes. Let's see if we can find some berries in the village to make up for our losses. Okay, that's all I have to say, kids, come on. Zhang Jiao waved his hand. Countless pirates made different strange sounds from their mouths, and then rushed up the slope in unison. But when they rushed up the slope, they found a figure standing on the top of the slope. In an instant, an idea came to their minds. Where did this stupid young man come from? He dares to block our way. But when they saw clearly who was standing on the top of the slope, their attitude took a 180-degree turn. The expression on his face changed from terrifying to fearful in a second. Then they all ran back at an unknown speed that was much faster than before. That way, I wish my parents had given them 2 fewer legs. At this time, Zhang Jiao was still holding his forehead and sighing. Oh, it's a good thing that those treasures don't belong to Captain Crow. Otherwise, if he knew that we lost the treasures, he wouldn't kill us. Dong dong dong. Just when he was still indulging in the sadness of losing his treasure, he suddenly felt a vibration coming from the ground. This is... Zhang Jiao looked forward as if he was aware of it, and saw a group of people rushing toward him, only a few meters away from him. You. Before he could finish speaking, he was knocked into the sky by the crowd, and then fell on the beach next to him. A few seconds later, he jumped up like a carp. Looking at the group of pirates huddled together in front of them with their heads in their hands, they instantly became angry and roared, "What the hell are you doing?" But none of the pirates seemed to hear him, and no one responded to him. In an instant, his anger became even stronger. Damn it, forget it if you lost Lao Zi's treasure some time ago, now you are asked to attack the village, you are already struggling, right? He looked at the group of pirates and cursed angrily, look at what you look like now. Do you still look like a pirate? What on earth could scare you like this? After saying that, he turned to look at the top of the slope and saw a boy about 17 years old standing on the top of the slope looking at them with a faint look. Zhang Gao stared at Xia Chen for half a minute. No matter how he looked at him, he just felt that Xia Chen was an ordinary person, with nothing special at all. If there is anything special about him, it is that this boy is very handsome. In just a short period of time, many things came to his mind. Judging from the attitude of his subordinates, they should be very afraid of the boy above. So why fear? There is only one answer, and that is that this young man is the person they said came to their ship to take away their treasure. Thinking of this, Zhang Jiao's anger could no longer be suppressed, and he stared at Xia Chen. Damn, that's too much. First, they came to snatch their treasure while he was away, and now they dared to block their way. If the tiger doesn't show off its power, do you think I'm Hello Kitty? 2 iron rings appeared in Zhang Jiao's hand, and he was going to teach this man a lesson. Yahoo! Just as he was about to launch an attack, 2 strange screams came from behind him. Hearing this voice, a smile appeared on his lips. It seemed that he didn't need to take action. Brother Catman, come on. Tear that boy at the top of the slope to pieces for me. Roger that, Captain. Sam, one of the Catman brothers, laughed sinisterly, and then quickly ran out with Butch. Seeing this scene, Zhang Jiao showed a happy smile. The Cat brothers were still reliable, unlike that group of losers, who were all cowards to death. A few seconds later, he looked at the 2 new members of the head-holding army and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Just now, was it too early to speak? But at this time, something even more distressing happened to him. Xia Chen, we are here to help you. Usopp ran over from a distance, followed closely by Nami. Ah, why are they all squatting on the ground with their heads in their hands? Usopp pointed at the group of pirates and asked in confusion. Who knows? Occupational disease. Xia Chen spread his hands and said. Where's Luffy? Why didn't he come? Usopp asked again doubtfully. Isn't he with you? Why did you ask me instead? No, he was the first one to come over just now. I thought he had arrived early. Hearing this, Xia Chen couldn't help but raise his forehead. This stupid captain. Forget it, it doesn't matter, these pirates don't plan to come up now anyway. Usopp, I'll leave the hypnosis master to you. Is there any problem? Ha! Usopp yelled instantly. Me? I might be a little bad. To tell you the truth, I have always had a disease that causes sudden death when fighting others, so. Then you go deal with the group of pirates there. You can't say you're not doing anything, right? Xia Chen said lightly. It's not that he deliberately embarrassed Usopp, it was actually that Usopp in the early stage really needed some experience. Otherwise, the strength is really a bit insignificant. This. Usopp's eyes kept switching back and forth between the 2 sides, and finally, he made a decision. He rushed toward Zhang Jiao below. Between one-on-one and one-to-many, he chose a seemingly simpler option. However, this is indeed the case. Most of Zhang Jiao's abilities are in hypnosis, and his own strength is actually not as good as that of the Cat brothers. Looking at Usopp rushing towards him, Django's face showed an ugly look. Then he turned to the group of pirates and shouted, Everyone, look at me. After I finish speaking, you will become very strong, and at the same time, you will be filled with murderous intentions. You just want to rush into the village and kill people. Come on, 1, 2, thumbs up. In an instant, all the pirates on the ground stood up, their eyes completely changed. Everyone's eyes seemed to be filled with violent killing intent. Kill! A group of people roared angrily, and then rushed towards the top of the slope again. Usopp, who was halfway through the rush, turned around immediately when he saw this scene, ran towards Xia Chen desperately, and huddled behind Xia Chen. Yes, the plan to train Usopp failed. Xia Chen sighed helplessly. I checked my eyes, it's true that he is a coward. Then Xia Chen looked at the pirate below, with a smile on his lips. It seems that the lesson I taught them last time was not enough. Xia Chen narrowed his eyes and was about to release Conqueror's domineering force to clear the area, but suddenly he seemed to notice something and stopped his movements. He turned to look at the rushing pirates with a smile. Chapter 21. Xia Chen, hurry up and do it. Usopp, who was huddled behind Xia Chen, said tremblingly. Ah, what are you talking about? How can we fight against so many people? We should just wait for death. Xia Chen also pretended to be scared and said. No. Isn't it? Didn't Luffy and the others say you are strong? Hearing Xia Chen's words, Usopp panicked instantly and asked with trembling legs. But what he didn't notice was that Nami, who was also timid next to him, didn't show any fear at this time, but just a trace of helplessness. Looking at the pirates getting closer and closer, an idea came to Usopp's mind. Done. Gomo Gomo, pistol. An outstretched arm penetrated from behind Usopp and hit a pirate running at the front. The impact of the fist knocked the small group of pirates to the ground. Usopp's face suddenly showed joy, and he quickly turned his head to look behind him. At this time, Luffy and Zoro were looking at them panting. Hoo Usopp, can you tell me clearly which side is north next time? Luffy shouted at the top of his lungs. I saw you ran out first, I thought you knew. Usopp said helplessly. You don't know why you are running so fast? Luffy's attitude at this time was okay, but Zoro next to him was really angry, staring at Nami. Nami, can you explain the good thing you just did? This. A layer of sweat broke out on Nami's forehead, and he waved his hand and said, it's better for 2 people to fall than for 1 person to fall, right? Don't you think it makes sense? Then why don't you? Okay, let's stop talking now, they are coming in front of us. Xia Chen interrupted Zoro before he finished speaking. Zoro didn't say anything after hearing this, but stood in front of everyone with Luffy. Slowly he pulled out the knife from his waist. In an instant, the 2 of them rushed out like arrows and fought with many pirates. As time went by, due to the gap in strength, each of these pirates were beaten to death by Luffy and Zoro. Django's face turned dark when he saw this scene, and he cursed a bunch of useless things in his heart. Then he picked up the iron ring in his hand, pointed it at Luffy who was fighting, and wanted to sneak attack him. At this moment, a voice from far away interrupted his movements. What are you doing? This is... A lot of sweat broke out on Zhang Jiao's forehead. Captain Crow. At the same time, everyone's eyes were attracted by this voice. I saw a few meters behind Xia Chen, Claw was looking at the scene in front of him. Seeing Crow's appearance, Zhang Jiao knew that he was very angry now, and hurriedly explained, Captain Crow, we are because. That's enough, needless to say. I thought they would come to stop our plan, but I never thought you would be such a waste. Can't even deal with a bunch of brats. Bang! As soon as Crow finished speaking, he flew backwards and hit the ground heavily in the distance. The glasses on his face were shattered to the ground. Everyone's eyes instantly turned to where Crow was standing, and they saw Xia Chen standing there at this time, saying lightly, I am very happy that you can become our captain's experience monster, but I don't like the tone of your words. So, I couldn't help but punch you. Are you okay? The group of pirates over there were all stunned at this time, with the same idea popping up in their minds. What did they just do? You actually want to find trouble with this ruthless man? At this moment, even though they were all injured, they still couldn't help but be glad that it was not Xia Chen who had taken action just now, but Luffy and Zoro. Usopp was also stunned at this time. You are so strong, so what do you mean by pretending to be so scared in front of me just now? Mullet Row. When his eyes returned to Xia Chen, he saw Crow lying on the ground and did not say anything. Instead, he turned his head and walked in the direction of Luffy. When he walked to Luffy, he said to him, "I'll leave this butler to you." Sure enough, after Xia Chen finished speaking, Crow slowly got up from the ground. This is not to say that Xia Chen is not strong enough and cannot knock Crow down with one punch, but because he upholds the concept of being an excellent deputy captain. The experience monsters should be left to the companions to eat, otherwise it will be like what he said before. To deal with someone like Crow, you don't even need to use your hands, just release Conqueror's haki. Okay. I'll leave those soldiers behind to you. After saying that, Luffy walked towards Crow. Understood, Captain. Xia Chen came to Zoro, stood side by side with him, and asked, "Third-rate swordsman, I'll leave the Cat brothers to you, and I'll take care of the rest." Zoro glanced at Xia Chen with disdain and said mockingly, "You only know how to deal with a group of soldiers? But it's understandable. After all, you are a rookie." Xia Chen didn't say anything when he heard this, but looked at Zoro with a smile. "Tisk only the weak will gain their own satisfaction by ridiculing others. Obviously, he is a strong man, so he would not do such a thing." "What? You said he also likes to taunt Zoro? That's different. As he said before, he is a strong man. It is normal for a strong man to mock the weak. This is no longer called finding a sense of presence, but is called motivating partners." After assigning his opponents, Xia Chen narrowed his eyes, and the next second, a powerful aura emanated from his body. In an instant, the pirates fell to the ground one by one like dumplings. For a moment, everyone on the field was stunned. What kind of power is this?" Usopp asked with a horrified expression. Luffy and the other three also looked at this scene in surprise. They didn't know that Xia Chen had done this before. Zoro looked at this and suddenly thought of something, and asked Xia Chen, "You also used this trick to knock out the housekeeper last time, right? You said it wasn't you, so you exposed your feet, Xia Chen." Luffy shouted from the side with stars in his eyes, "Si, I also want to learn, Xia Chen. You will learn it later." Xia Chen smiled lightly. "Really? Can I learn it too?" Luffy became even more excited after hearing this. "This move is really cool, isn't it?" "Of course." Xia Chen said affirmatively. "It's just that this time may be a little long." The last sentence was what Xia Chen said in his heart, otherwise it would be bad if it would damage Luffy's self-confidence. As of now, Luffy's strength and courage are not enough to support him in awakening conquerors. Not even qualified to practice any of the three colors of haki. He is still too weak now. Chapter 22. Crow, who had just gotten up on the other side, had the urge to lie back down again. "That's right, this is it. This was how he fainted last time." At that time, he thought there was something wrong with his body. "After waking up, I did a good inspection, although I didn't find anything in the end. But I still think that after this plan is successful, I will go to a doctor to check my body." Unexpectedly, all this was caused by the man in front of me. At this moment, Crow made an instant decision in his heart. Escape. The man in front of him was so strong that it frightened him and was definitely not something he could defeat. Just when Crow was still thinking about how to escape, a voice came from behind. "Crabittle, I didn't expect you to be a pirate and to deal such a heavy blow to Mary. I really misjudged you." This sound is... A trace of joy flashed in Crow's eyes. It seemed that God was going to let him escape this disaster. The silent step was unleashed, and Crow immediately galloped towards Xia behind him. His hope of escape lies in her hands. With the relationship between Xia and Usopp, if he threatens Xia, they will definitely take action. This gives him a chance to escape. Where are the people? Where have they gone? Everyone present looked confused when they saw Crow disappear. But Usopp shouted to Xia, "Xia, run away." He knew something was wrong the moment he saw Xia appear. Although he couldn't see Crow's whereabouts clearly, he always felt that Xia was in danger. "I really am." Xia Chen next to him was speechless. Really, in the end, he still had to do everything. It's really like being both a father and a mother. But it's understandable, after all, Crow's silent step is comparable to Shao in terms of speed. It's normal that Luffy and the others can't react at this stage. On the internet, it is said that Oda said in SBS that silent walking is as fast as shaving. Please forgive me if there is any mistake, so. Xia Chen disappeared from the spot in an instant, and appeared in front of Xia the next second, giving Crow a slap in the face. Even if it can match the speed of shaving, it has something to do with one's own strength. Weak people will definitely be slower to perform the same moves. Don't you see that the gap between an ordinary CP9 and Liu Qi is as big as heaven and earth? The strength gap between him and Crow is even greater than this, so even if Crow is closer to Kaya, he can act faster. But it's useless. Luffy, watch your opponent. Oh, okay. After hearing this, Luffy quickly ran to Crow. Then he started fighting with Crow. After some time, due to the gap in hard power, the battle between Zoro and the Cat brothers ended not long after. On the other hand, Luffy's fight was a bit difficult. Crow's silent steps made him miserable, but as the battle slowly progressed, he was gradually able to keep up with the rhythm. This is the scary thing about Luffy. He grows up too fast in battles. The more difficult the battle, the greater the improvement for Luffy. Just like when fighting Teacher Kai later, Luffy's strength will increase a lot with every blow. From the flowing cherry blossoms at the beginning to the tyrants in the middle, and finally to the fruit awakening. It's really a huge jump in strength. Although a large part of the reason for this is because of Teacher Kai's good teaching, it still has something to do with Luffy's talent. Seeing that he couldn't take down Luffy for a long time, Crow was also angry. Then Crow's hands dropped, and then his whole body swayed like a zombie walking. Spoon. As Crow's voice fell, his figure disappeared instantly. Then it launched an indiscriminate attack on the surrounding environment. Luffy's body, the surrounding rock walls, the ground, and the pirates lying on the ground all became the targets of his attack. Until... bang! There was a sound of a fist hitting the face, and Crow flew backwards with both hands. But the difference this time was that he never stood up again. Xia Chen really couldn't bear it this time. He had been worried about being an experience pack for Luffy before, so he didn't solve Crow's problem. But you kid is a bit unethical. They provoked him again and again, and this time they actually attacked him. If he endured it any longer, he would not be able to justify it. So Xia Chen decisively used some strength and punched him. Of course, the result was that he passed out without any accident, and without receiving the lunch box, Xia Chen acted lightly. At this point, the plan to attack the village initiated by Crow was officially solved. Windmill Village once again spent a peaceful day like any other day. The next day, in the tavern of Windmill Village. This black cat pirates are a bunch of poor people, and they don't even have a berry. Hey, Tui, it's really a shame among pirates. Nami said through gritted teeth while eating an orange. Xia Chen, who heard this next to him, just smiled faintly. If you can find it, there will be a ghost. Doesn't that mean I'm not professional? Luffy and Zoro next to them ignored Nami. One of them was busy eating meat and the other was busy drinking. Crunch! The door of the tavern was opened, and Kaya walked in. She smiled when she saw Xia Chen and others. You are here. Do you have time to come with me? I have a gift for you. Gift? Half an hour later. Wow! Luffy and Nami showed their starry eyes like idiots. It's a light sailing ship. Are you really going to give this ship to us? Luffy asked Kaya again excitedly. Yes, you must accept it. Sai-kui, what a great boat. Luffy couldn't help but keep praising him. Ah, help, save me. A panicked scream in the distance attracted everyone's attention. I saw Usopp holding a ball. Oh, no, there should be a Usopp stuck under the ball and rolling towards everyone from the slope. Is he performing acrobatics? Luffy asked doubtfully. No matter what he is doing, stop him first, otherwise he will hit the boat. Xia Chen said lightly. The new ship he just got cannot be damaged by Usopp. Then Xia Chen and Zoro each kicked Usopp in the face to help him stop. Thanks. Oh, no need. After that, Usopp talked with Kaya for a while. When they finished talking, Usopp turned his attention to Xia Chen and others on the ship. Hey, I won't hold back when we meet at sea in the future. Hey? What are you still talking about? Why don't you get on the boat quickly? Xia Chen asked. Luffy also said, aren't we already partners? Usopp was stunned when he heard this. Tears flowed out unconsciously. You. After a while, he wiped the tears from his eyes and shouted loudly, Captain, is it me? How is that possible, BD? Everyone, the plot of Treasure Island has been briefly mentioned. Then go directly to the next chapter. Chapter 23. One day later in a certain area of the East China Sea, on the Golden Melee. Hey, Luffy, what kind of bird are you drawing? Xia Chen's mouth twitched slightly as he looked at the pirate flag drawn by Luffy in front of him. Are you sure what you drew is really a skeleton? Usopp, you draw it, this silly captain is of no use. Wow, I knew you had to let me do the important things. Okay, just wrap it up on me. Usopp promised, patting his chest. After a while, everyone looked at the pirate flag drawn by Usopp and smiled with satisfaction. Oh, this painting is indeed much better than Luffy. Zoro said from the side. It's true, ha ha ha. Call out. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew from the distant sea, causing everyone on the boat to look in a certain direction as if they were feeling something. I saw an island shrouded in cumulus clouds appearing in front of the sea. This, is this? Nami's eyes flashed with shock, and then said, you can't be wrong, this is Treasure Island, a legendary island with many treasures. Treasure. Luffy excitedly climbed to the bow of the boat and stretched out his neck to watch from a distance. Then he said to Nami, then let's go there quickly, I can't wait to find the treasure. After a while, the Melee slowly approached the coast. After anchoring, everyone boarded the island. At the same time, a familiar and pleasant voice sounded in Xia Chen's mind. Ding, check-in to Treasure Island was successful, and the indestructible body of Vajra was upgraded to the intermediate level. The moment the system prompt tone fell, Xia Chen felt an extremely powerful force emerging from the depths of his body. It even made his body unsteady and staggered a bit. Seeing this situation, Zoro couldn't help but ask, Hey, Xia Chen, what's wrong with you? Isn't it because you were hungover from drinking last night? Are you such a noob? Oh, when it comes to drinking, even 10 of you can't catch up with me. Xia Chen said disdainfully. But now he really had to sit down and get used to the energy that was constantly emerging from his body, so he said to everyone, I'll guard the ship, you go ahead. After saying that, he appeared directly on the boat and walked into the cabin without looking back. What the hell is this guy doing? Zoro still looked suspicious. Luffy said, well, since Xia Chen doesn't want to go, let's go by ourselves. Treasure, treasure, here I come. The figures of everyone gradually disappeared on the island, and Xia Chen on the boat finally adapted to the soaring power in his body. After feeling it carefully, Xia Chen found that his current physique was at least 3 times what it was before the breakthrough. Although it may not seem like a big increase, you must know that Xia Chen's original physique was already very strong. Moreover, 3 times the original physique is not a simple situation where 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. Now, even if he faces the previous 10 at the same time, he can do it with ease. The strength has been greatly improved. But to be honest, this indestructible body is really awesome. According to Xia Chen's current estimation, his physical strength at this time is almost the same as Luffy during the Onigashima period, and may even be a little stronger. If the increase in the subsequent high-level Vajra's indestructible body is as large as that, it will even be stronger than Big Mom's steel balloon body. This wave can only be said to have greatly improved its strength. This gave him more confidence to face the next battle. It's been a while since he came to the One Piece world, but he hasn't tried out how strong his full power is. Now his estimates of his strength are all based on his understanding of the original work. Whether this is specifically the case remains to be verified. Thinking of this, a smile appeared on Xia Chen's lips. Looking forward to it. After Xia Chen spent a day bored on the boat, he finally heard the sound of Luffy and the others coming back. Slowly walked out of the deck. And Luffy yelled after seeing Xia Chen, Hey, Xia Chen, it's really a shame that you didn't come today. We saw a lot of interesting things, such as an uncle growing in a box. Xia Chen listened quietly, interjecting a few words from time to time and marveling. Bursts of laughter came from the melee. The next day, Xia Chen was still sleeping in the cabin when he heard shouting from outside. He walked out with his sleepy eyes open. As soon as they walked out, they saw Luffy and Usopp bowing at a 90-degree angle to someone. Johnny. Xia Chen said doubtfully, he still had some impression of these 2 little followers of Zoro. But what is happening now? After Xia Chen walked down, he asked Zoro about it and learned the cause and effect of the incident. A simple summary is that Johnny thought Luffy and Usopp had killed Joseph. That's why this happens. Xia Chen walked to Joseph calmly, and at this time he also remembered the plot. He said to the people next to him, Hey, if you have anything to do, we'll talk about it later. Now go to the cabin and take out Nami's fresh oranges, otherwise this person will really die. You mean Joseph is not dead? After hearing this, Johnny asked Xia Chen excitedly. Yes, not yet, but maybe it will happen later. So, hurry up and get there. Xia Chen yelled directly at Luffy and Usopp in the last sentence. These two dickheads don't know how to see things and do things, right? Yes, we'll go right away. They straightened their bodies instantly and ran towards the cabin. Xia Chen turned to look at Joseph and said lightly, he is suffering from scurvy. To put it simply, it is due to the long-term life at sea without a reasonable diet, leading to nutritional imbalance. You will eventually suffer from this disease. After a while, when Luffy and the two fed Joseph fresh oranges, his complexion began to slowly improve. Johnny's eyes instantly lit up when he saw this scene, and he rushed over and hugged Xia Chen's thigh. Brother, the kindness of rebuilding is unforgettable. Get out of my way. So, nutritional balance at sea is very important, you know? Otherwise, various problems may occur. Xia Chen sat on the boat and shared basic common sense with a bunch of idiots like Luffy. Okay, if that's the case, let's find a chef. Luffy suddenly stood up and said loudly. Indeed. It makes sense. This time, it was rare that no one came out to oppose Luffy. After all, what he said did make sense. Johnny, who heard this, said, if you want to find a sea chef, I have a place I recommend you to go to. Really? Where? Johnny narrowed his eyes and said word by word, Sea Restaurant Barity. Chapter 24. Everyone, I saw the restaurant on the sea. Luffy, who was sitting on the bow of the boat, suddenly turned his head and said to everyone on the boat. Everyone stood up in unison and looked at the looming ship ahead. Xia Chen was also a little excited at this moment. He was actually a man who liked to enjoy delicious food. Now that he finally came to the famous sea restaurant, he was looking forward to it. Just when everyone's eyes were focused on the front, the sound of a ship breaking through the waves came from next to their ship. Looking back, I saw that a marine warship was heading forward side by side with the Mary. Then, a very naughty-looking man appeared in everyone's sight. This person, Xia Chen knew very well that he was one of the few he remembered well. After all, this is a man with the same Iron Fist title as Garp. Iron Fist Hobity. This is the strength, maybe a little. Garp, you are also called Iron Fist. What level do you belong to, and you have the same title as me? Returning to the topic, Hobadi looked at the pirate ship opposite and felt very unhappy. When did a group of pirates see him, a lieutenant from the marine headquarters, and start running away? Do you think you don't take him seriously? If this is the case, then he has to give them some color to show them. He summoned a marine with one hand and said to him, sink it. Xia Chen narrowed his eyes when he heard this on the melee. Boy, you are quite ugly and very courageous. How dare you say something like sinking the Mary in front of him? Do you think he can't hold the stick anymore? Although he really had no intention of wielding a stick. The next second, before the marine on the opposite side could make any movement, Conqueror's domineering energy came out from his body, stunning every marine on the ship. Done. Not to mention, the more Xia Chen uses Conqueror's haki, the more comfortable he becomes. The efficiency of clearing out minions is really amazing. At this time, Luffy was envious again when he saw this scene again, with little stars in his eyes. Xia Chen, teach me this quickly. Didn't you say I could master it last time? I'm talking about the future, not now. Xia Chen curled his lips lightly. What kind of strength is there? Don't you have any idea? Cheapskate, hey. Xia Chen. Why do I always have the urge to hit people lately? A few minutes later, the melee finally came to Barity's side. At this time, everyone was so excited that they could not help but shed their tears on the ground. Due to Xia Chen's intervention, Marine did not fire the cannonball, so Luffy did not damage Barity's ceiling. So now everyone comes to the restaurant together and waits to enjoy the food. Good food, good food. Luffy and Usopp both held a fork in their left and right hands and tapped the table rhythmically. After a while, a lot of exquisite delicacies were served to everyone's tables. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the clouds, and the food on the table decreased at a speed visible to the naked eye. Xia Chen was also eating big mouthfuls at this time. The food made by Barity is different from other places, much more delicious. And since Nami pays for the meals now, it makes him eat even more deliciously. I don't know why, but even the food tastes better when you don't have to pay for it yourself. Dong dong dong. With the sound of shoes hitting the floor, a man wearing a black double-breasted suit, tie, yellow hair, and curly eyebrows walked towards them. Then he came to Nami gracefully, gently held her hand, and asked gently, "This beautiful lady, may I have the honor to buy you a glass of red wine?" Nami was confused by this sudden scene, but with the idea of not taking advantage of the BD, she said happily, "Okay, thank you, you are such a gentleman." "Thank you for your compliment, I think so too." Xia Chen and Luffy looked at Sanji speechlessly. Is this person so shameless? Seeing this scene, Nami took it a step further and said coquettishly to Sanji, "The food here is quite expensive? Can you treat me to a meal?" Seeing Nami like this, Sanji's eyes instantly turned into heart shapes. He said with a flattering face, "Of course, miss." However, this expression did not last for a second before he turned to Xia Chen and others and said, "You can't. Do you dare to double standard a little more? Xia Chen is still concentrating on cooking, what does this have to do with him?" Even though she doesn't have to pay for Nami's meal herself, Nami still has to pay for his meal. So, no matter what, it won't affect him. This is... No way, is this? Suddenly, other guests in the restaurant burst into disbelief and looked out the window with fear. Suddenly, the eyes of everyone on the field were attracted. Except for Luffy and Xia Chen, they were still cooking at this time. But even if Xia Chen didn't look at anything, he knew what was happening outside. Seeing, hearing, and being domineering is not just for free. With a creaking sound, the door of the restaurant was pushed open from the outside. Two men walked in, supporting each other. Both of them were very weak at this time, and fell to the ground within a few steps. He begged everyone in a thin voice, "Give me something to eat, we are going to starve to death." "Impossible. Don't you know what your Krieg pirates are like?" A rich chef jumped out and said. "The comments about you in the sea are all about despicable people. Get out of here quickly. You are not welcome in Barity." After the words fell, Krieg and Ajin fell to the ground without any reaction. At this time, they were already at the end of their strength. "I was so hungry that I had no energy at all, but I still kept begging, 'Give me something to eat.'" Patty, the rugged-looking cook, was still yelling at Krieg and the two to get out. If other cooks hadn't stopped him, Xia Chen had no doubt that he would throw them out himself. At this time, Sanji was watching this scene silently, speechless for a long time. After a while, Sanji turned around and walked towards the kitchen, and then a clanging sound came from the kitchen. 10 minutes later Sanji brought a large bowl of fried rice and placed it in front of Krieg. He lit a cigarette and took a deep breath before saying slowly, "Come on, eat." Krieg and Ajin looked up at the same time. Krieg picked up the rice in front of him and started eating without saying anything. Ajin hesitated for a long time and then said thank you before starting to speak. The two of them just sat on the ground and ate without any image. Chapter 25. When Krieg had finished eating, he slowly stood up and looked at Sanji in front of him with scrutiny in his eyes. Then he slowly spoke, "Now, go and prepare meals for 100 people. My companions are about to starve to death." Sanji did not act when he heard this, but looked straight at Krieg. For a long time, when the atmosphere between the two could not go on, Sanji slowly answered with one word. "Good." Then he turned around and walked into the kitchen. When Patty saw this scene, he was furious and yelled at Sanji, "What are you doing? We don't have a tradition here of giving others freebies." Sanji didn't look back, but a faint voice came over. "We are chefs. You guy." Patty was still very angry. No, he was going to teach these pirates a lesson and let them know that Barity was not someone to be trifled with. Just when he was about to find trouble with Krieg, a voice stopped him. "Do as he says." A middle-aged man with a broken leg, wearing a chef's hat and a trademark beard on his face came over and said. "Chef, but... do as I say." Before Patty finished speaking, Jep interrupted him. Therefore, he could only reluctantly go to the kitchen and get busy. Across the way, Krieg looked at Jeep and he looked more and more familiar. Suddenly he seemed to have thought of something and said in disbelief, are you red-footed Zep?" Jeep did not answer his words, but looked at him quietly as always. The expression on Krieg's face kept changing at this time, from surprise to fear, and finally calmness, and then he slowly said, "So what if you are red-footed Jeep? All your strength lies in your legs. How much strength do you still have without these legs? I am now officially informing you that I own your boat. I am only here to ask for the boat and food, so don't do anything unnecessary, otherwise you will be responsible for the consequences. After saying that, Krieg walked out directly. Xia Chen looked at this scene calmly at this time, with a completely scornful attitude towards Krieg's remarks. Without them, Krieg's plan would not succeed. He still wants to eat Barity's delicacies. What if Krieg destroys it? After a period of time, since Luffy always wanted to invite Sanji to join, they naturally stayed here. Xia Chen was sleeping soundly in the cabin at this time. He knew that Sanji would not agree to get on the ship without going through something. So there is no need to rush, just wait slowly. Until... Boom! A loud sound came from outside, and Xia Chen slowly opened his eyes. Slowly sitting up and looking in a certain direction, he felt the breath even if there was an object blocking it, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Are you coming? At this time, the outside world. Just as the Krieg pirates wanted to get off the ship to grab Barity, the ship began to break apart in the middle. The cut surface is as smooth as a mirror. At the same time, a small boat slowly approaches from a distance. A person suddenly appeared and attracted everyone's attention, especially Zoro. Beads of sweat broke out on his forehead. He's Hawkeye. Ah, who is that? Luffy asked in confusion. Zoro's slightly excited voice came. He is my goal when I go to sea, the person I want to defeat, the strongest swordsman in the world. Kuyi. Is he the strongest swordsman in the world? Luffy and others also looked at Hawkeye over there. At this time, Zoro couldn't help it and jumped directly onto the wreckage of a ship. Shout to Hawkeye, hey, Hawkeye, I want to challenge you. Hey! Hawkeye, who heard the voice, slightly raised the brim of his hat, looked at Zoro and said, your strength is too weak, you don't have the qualifications. TCH, could it be that the world's best swordsman is someone who can only talk with his mouth? Come over and challenge me if you can. Zoro said provocatively. I don't know if you are overconfident or ignorant, but since you want to die, I will give you this chance. As soon as he finished speaking, Eagle Eye jumped over from the boat. Looking at Zoro, he said coldly again, if you are a first-class swordsman, you should be able to feel the gap between us. But obviously, you're not, so. Hawkeye slowly took off the cross pendant from his neck, pulled out a knife, and said calmly, I'm sorry, I really don't have a smaller knife than this. Damn it, you guys are so insulting. Zoro roared angrily, and then rushed towards Hawkeye with a ghost slash. Then, his expression turned into one of deep astonishment. How is this possible? I saw that Zoro's 3 knives at this time were all blocked by Hawkeye's knife, and they were completely unable to move forward. What, my brother's ghost slash was actually blocked? It's obviously a big move that hits 100% of the time. Johnny and Joseph said in horror from the side. Isn't this normal? Who do you think the man opposite is? He is the best swordsman in the world. Xia Chen, who came to them at some unknown time, looked at the eagle eyes over there and said lightly. Brother Xia Chen. Look carefully, this is Zoro's battle. Looking back to Zoro, he now feels that his worldview has been greatly impacted. Is the gap in strength so big? Is the world so far apart? Then Zoro began to attack continuously, but no matter how he attacked, he was easily blocked by Hawkeye with the knife. As time passed, Zoro's heart gradually sank to the bottom. How could I be played with by something like this toy? Zoro took a step back and struck a pose. Tiger. Pfft. The sound of a sharp blade cutting through the wound came, and at some point Hawkeye had arrived in front of Zoro, and the knife had pierced his chest. A surprised expression appeared on Hawkeye's face. Why don't you retreat? Aren't you afraid of having your heart pierced? Because I have a reason why I can't retreat. Even if I die, I can never lose. Hearing this, Eagle Eye's pupils dilated slightly, flashing a look of shock. At this moment, he re-examined the man in front of him. The belief exuding from him at this moment was so dazzling. Hawkeye took a few steps back slightly, took back the knife in his hand, and then pulled out one of the 12 supreme sharp knives behind him, Black Knife Knight. Long lost strong man, in order to show my respect for you, let me bury you with this black knife. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.